pretty easily. However, Onslaught don't seem to be ready to take real advantage of this yet. They are still very slowly approaching the side of the building. BKN still below. BC is actually pinned in that corner, and he is being spotted by the Glaz and will not win that fight. He was hiding in the smoke as if it wasn't a hard enough angle already.
That was a
The firebolt was there to pin that Jaeger into the corner. And now they've lost a man to try and hold this room. Minute 25 on the clock, and okay, Onslaught started off slow and still feels like they're a little bit slow. But they are actually starting to make some significant progress towards this site.
They're just being cautious is all, but that pre-planned pick from Glaz was, and the Capital bolt to hold that Jaeger in the corner was beautiful.
Heartbeat sensed on the red stairs, couple above him.
They're conscious of the fact that Pulse is playing here. They're being very cautious, not pushing straight on into him and not exposing themselves to C4 at all. If the drop down in Cigar were open, Pulse would probably be able to get 2 kills pretty easily at this moment.
Right now he is just tracking their heartbeats using the sensor he's got in hand. Smoke grenades pinning these two in. Nice shot from Talon, takes Brian out just as Capital sprints through the smoke. They are planting inside that site. The call does not seem to have gone through. Mira's going to push forward. Talon looks away at the wrong moment and will lose his life for it. Jarvis has picked up a kill onto... sorry, Jarvis is that, but Justin and Delican picked up 2 kills each. Now Jarvis is the only man standing. The diffuser has been planted. BCK was picked off downstairs by the Hebana who was watching the flank. Sov is still repelled outside, and Exclusive is sitting on the diffuser. Delican upstairs above the hatch of the skylight in Blackbeard's favourite spot isn't needed, as Justin will pick up the kill in red stairs.
So, Onslaught's first attack, and so far we've seen 2 attack wins, 1 for each team. In counter to Ominous's attack, Onslaught's was very much more calculated and slow. They didn't really rush themselves into anything. They spent a lot of time holding every possible angle, and it just paid off for them. They had that beautiful pre-planned pick from Glaz. He knew exactly where he needed to be aiming. Capital was on top of keeping the Jaeger in the corner. That's 1 free pick for them. And then from there, they just kind of took it slow and worked with what they knew they were dealing with. A player playing from the B-bomb. There's going to be a pulse underneath, and they just kept it all contained. They didn't leave anything exposed, except for Piano, but that was, at that point, the round was pretty much over.
So, time for Onslaught to defend, and they are going straight upstairs. Despite not successfully holding down below, they do not wish to give it another shot straight away. See if this is played into their hand or not. Ominous, were you expecting them to go to the same location? Are you okay with bringing these attacking operators to this upper floor? Or will this have thrown a spanner in the works? Double rotate holes made into Freezer here, and you see this is what I was talking about with Talon before. Both mirror windows next to each other. One will likely be opened. Probably one in the toilet.
They have those unreinforced walls next to them, so I'm guessing that maybe the plan is... You could open one, but I think maybe the plan is just to shoot through the wall. We'll see what they do. It's interesting to me that they're doing both. So usually a team or anybody really playing Mira will pick between either A, putting 2 mirrors next to each other and opening one, or B, having an unreinforced wall next to a reinforced wall so that you can play it in the same sense. But they've done both.
They've done both, exactly, yeah. So, I mean, it does put another bit of fear into the enemy attackers, right? Is he going to peek through the wall? Is he going to peek through the open window? Like, there's a fear there. But with so many soft surfaces from the Piano, they've got to be very comfortable with not dying and being able to hold that room.
Well, from a lot of teams, what we've been seeing on this upstairs attack, the point of contention has shifted somewhat from simply being the freezer wall, because a lot of teams have realized if you open up that freezer wall, the defenders have a hard 90-degree angle to hold on you to pretty easily hold the top floor.
This is a very nice angle coming out here for BKN's Glass. Out on this tower, which rarely gets used, he's got a hole into reading room and then a hole into laundry as well. So it's a very long sightline.
Cut off so much of the map here with this, and this is something that we haven't seen from any other team before.
He is watching towards the door and watching towards reading. Should anyone be pushed into there, I think they know Castle's around. You can tell from the drones and the repels that they are angling towards this location, and actually this is what it is. They want to go into A and they're covering the drop. If he drops through laundry,
it's beautiful.
If that echo dropped, he'd have fallen straight into Glass, but he manages to walk straight out away instead. There is a Delican inside blueprint corridor. Echo manages to get himself skirted out and away, and has managed to slip himself away and out of the trap.
Unfortunately, which is reinforced, so there won't be any defenders dropping.
Yeah. So, let's see what the banner charges are going off. Inside, Onslaught have switched up and push their defense towards this side of the map. They are getting quite bunched up for it. Ominous ready for that.
There are a lot of castle barricades that are going to be working in the favor of Ominous in this particular attack.
Fireball's not quite lining up well enough to do damage to Delican here. Zovs, however, inside the freezer is taken low. Jarvis does get taken out as BC comes around. Talon will finish Justin off with a team kill. BC picking up the kill on Delican, but that does mean the diffuser is down inside. Mira just around the corner. Can't come in and finish the person off until he gets shot in the back by Brian. Echo drone taken out quickly after the rappel. Brian now on the white stairs will come on in. 2 defenders left alive, but the diffuser has been picked up. They do try to push on through, but BC was ready for him as he couldn't actually get the plant down when he thought he would, and is now in a 1v5 for exclusive. Very quickly picked up by Chap, who was waiting for him inside the bomb.
So a very unique attack from Ominous. They did something that we haven't actually seen before. It didn't work for them with having the Glaz waiting for somebody to drop there, given that the drop was, well, reinforced. But the way that they handled that site was really well done in the sense that it was counter to everything Onslaught was expecting, clearly. Because Onslaught set up a lot of their castle barricades in a way that was detrimental to holding from those windows. They had a castle barricade on Cigar, which meant they couldn't pressure anyone coming from the red stairs or piano. That whole area was cut off. And then they had a castle barricade on the far freezer door, which meant that they could only peek through the rotation hole they made in freezer and the close door with the door that was, well, right next to that rotation hole. So they were kind of cut off. They had just 3 avenues to get to them, or to get to the attacking team. And because Ominous was so patient with their take, they just waited for the picks that they needed initially to get in, and it was pretty much just cut and dried from there.
Ominous then looking for the same hold that they did before. Let's see if they can keep it any stronger than last time. BC, of course, picked off from that corner by Glaz very early on. Lost control of Piano from that point, and were then just countered and picked apart by Onslaught methodically. But they know roughly what to expect now. They know where this attack's going to come from. BKN is going to expect a person on that staircase waiting for his flank this time. So how do they choose to counter it? Well, it looks like they may not have to, as already we're seeing a slight change from Onslaught's attack, which is looking very familiar to the previous round. They head up towards the east side of the building, towards the A-bomb site instead.
You have to wonder, is this something that Onslaught anticipated in the attack that we saw from Ominous, or are they adapting on the fly? It doesn't seem like it was something they were anticipated, given the way that they handled it on defense. But
they've also brought exactly the same operators they use when they attack the other side of the site.
Right.
Now, could that be, as you say, these are what they used to use when attacking this
could
top
just be
bomb site, but now they're trying to use it in a different fashion.
Right. It could just be a straight up on the fly adjustment here, and that's what it seems. That's what it looks like, because same operators, simply just a different area of the map.
No, Sovs is inside reading room and actually gets the first kill on BKN as he tries to rotate through from mining room to this side of the map when they realized the attack was coming off instead. So without the Glaz outside to look through from reading, they put Sov inside, and that's worked out for them too. He was being drone for by Delican too, so that helped it for him. And I believe they spotted Brian on the staircase too, which is why they chose to fall back a little way. Have they though found BC, who's over by mining room?
I think
both. Do you see someone just got downed? Yeah, OJ, just for Jarvis rather, just got downed inside A, has fallen through the trapdoor and is inside laundry, down but not out.
I don't think they know.
I don't think they realize either, no. They haven't pushed for it. The sledge is not doing anything about it. BC may be going to revive him, but if Sovs finds him, this could be catastrophic for the defending squad, who only have 3 players left standing right now. Sovs finds Jarvis. There we go. He's finished him off now through the wall. I think they were aware Delican's drone perhaps found him. They sledged the wall and saw him in there. BC now looking to pressure into reading. He knows at least Sovs is in here, but is he aware of the second person? Justin's there. BC creeps through the doorway. Does get one, but Sovs is immediately there to trade him back. Justin is down, and that means Sov is now alone on this floor. Upstairs, Bandit and Smoke the last 2. Brian on that staircase just going to get spotted by Sovs, but too late. Brian will shut him out. He and Smoke now holding the A site as a pairing. Delican's in there, is being choked out by the smoke itself. Exclusive though is the man with the diffuser, and he's got 40 seconds to get it to a bomb site. Blackbeard inside on the bomb now is in a very, very dangerous position for the defenders to deal with. Flashbangs himself a little bit awkward as the smokes continue to come out. Exclusive cannot sit in there and tank that one as Chapstick takes the Blackbeard down with the smoke grenade. Looks for Exclusive now, stops the plant. This might be great, 20 seconds to go. Talon is now the only attacker left alive, and he is stuck on this window. Cannot repel in as there's 2 people looking his way. All Bandit has to do. All they have to do is hide on in here as Chap will get the free kill as that rappel comes through the window, and somehow Ominous hold that round.
It was a great duo between Bandit and Chapstick, really holding it out. Like you said, Bandit on that wide stairs peak. Unfortunately, Sledge, while he did open up the round initially for his team by getting those 2 picks, he ended up getting taken out by Bandit because he wasn't paying enough attention to the top of those stairs. But I want to talk more about the strategy. The way that Onslaught decided to take that was very similar to Ominous, extremely so. It did seem kind of like an on-the-fly adaptation, given that they weren't doing this the same exact thing that they did with Ash and Glaz, opening up that full line of sight. They instead opted to just push their Sledge into reading. But I have to question whether that was a better decision or not. It might have been. The way that Onslaught handled that, it might have been better because, sure, it was less contained. It relied a little bit more on Sledge doing a good job inside the building than it did on simply Glaz watching for the flank and being ready. Then, you know, he didn't really need to do anything in there on Ominous' take. But at the same time, Sledge did do that. He did perform. He did get the pick. So it ended up playing out better for them, even though they didn't win that round. He played a more influential role than Glaz did in Ominous's take.
So, as it matters though, Onslaught are down 3 rounds to 1 with Ominous sitting comfortably in the lead. Ominous have brought a very different set of attacking operators from what we've seen from them for the last 2 attempts.
No Glaz?
One of which doesn't really fit attacking this middle floor bomb site, this train room bomb site, this being the thermite. Exactly. Yeah. They may not have been expecting this to be in this location.
It might be the case that they didn't expect it this location. It might also be the case that they have something new up their sleeves. I was going to say maybe a white stairs take and open up the B wall, but based upon their spawns, I'm guessing that's not very likely. I think you're right. I think they did just get a little caught off guard by a train pick.
Yeah, there's no reinforcements other than in their B site to be used or blown. They got a Hibana for the hatch. I think they were just expecting top floor, you're right. So we'll see though how they handle it instead. Thermite, since his changes to his weapon, is not the utility-only operator that some people previously thought. He's actually pretty good for fragging now, as that gun has got very strong.
It's not necessarily, maybe not as good as Hibana's gun or Ash's gun for just shooting people, but if you can hit headshots, it's similar to the L85 where it has basically no recoil at its current state.
Yeah, so Justin has been found by Jarvis. He knows he's around on this floor, and Jarvis is trying to spray through these tight angles and catch a little bit of lucky damage onto Justin. Won't manage it this time, but Justin is now aware that he has been spotted out. They will play around this, he will bait them, he will waste their time, he will force them to kind of deal with him as much as he can. And he also has Sovs up on this floor to help him momentarily. Jarvis then keeping an eye from that trapdoor, as from that skylight, as Brian will drop down and in and open up the wall into Piano. Takes out that camera as Sovs will now spray across towards Cigar. BC's in there, BKN's in there too. This floor is now well and truly under Ominous control until Sovs can do anything about it. He is currently very much pinned in that small side area of the bar.
And Valkyrie's kind of abandoned him a little bit. He's all alone now.
He has, however, picked up one good kill of his own, taking Brian out. So he's given himself an opening of freedom to move. He can now pay attention to this blueprint corridor instead of paying attention to multiple angles. He does see the shots come through. The grenade is there, and this is his way out. Drops down through the hatch. They realize now that he is gone. They're going to watch the white stairs, but the C4 from below is there. Justin, using the camera he had left up, using the information that they were pushing onto that castle, taking out another attacker. Ominous's attack is down now to 3 players, looking for all 5 defenders still standing. BKN starting to push towards the site. Jarvis is just going to stick the Piano upstairs and look at the shots down through the floor. Does take a tag from Talon, can't return any damage himself, but Delican has been downed, so it is only 4 until that moment where Delican is revived. BKN inside the site misses a shot to Talon, is now covering the plant as Chapstick is pushing it through. Talon takes down Jarvis, and Justin with the flank takes down BKN and Chap for a beautiful defense from Onslaught.
That was a beautiful defense from Onslaught, absolutely. They set up a trap, and Ominous fell right on into it. It seemed like Ominous had taken control of that particular round, but it just ended up not going that way. Sovs with the pick on Ash in Cigar, cut the Ominous attack off in the middle, and then after that, he just simply walked away. And as the Ominous team came in to realize that, oh gosh, Castle's gone, Valkyrie with an excellent C4 from underneath, just totally winning the round. I think it was pretty much over as soon as he got that second pick there. Not enough time on Ominous' side. They did only take control of top floor with less than a minute left. So kind of a bit of a slow take from Ominous, and again, a really well-played trap by Onslaught.
Yeah, let's see if they can attack as successfully then and get this back onto level ground, or if Ominous have their plan solidified for defense. Straight up, reinforcing this red stairs corridor wall, something which Onslaught left completely open, and in fact made a shotgun hole all the way through it. So a very big difference there. I did like it too. It helped them win. That flank from Chapstick was allowed to happen because of that hole. Upstairs, they're going to hold it very firmly with Jarvis's mirror and this similar rotate holds if they were holding the top floor bomb site as is. This is just how you hold piano.
Yeah, I have said it before, and I think it's what we saw just now again with Onslaught, is the way they were handling that round. Is sometimes with Train, it's better to, instead of sitting on the site and trying to anchor and trying to just hard hold it, it's better to play a very dynamic roaming game, similar to what we saw with Onslaught, and to open up the site so that you have more maneuverability when you're on that retake. So you open up the red hall into sight. That means anyone coming from underneath red stairs, which is not something that attackers can very easily cover, can then influence the site in any way. So say you're getting a bomb plant down, like what we saw with Ominous there, or say just you're pushing into the site, or maybe you're playing on the top red stairs. Anybody coming from bottom red stairs is going to have a pretty good chance of dealing with you.
Now, straight up onto the roof again goes Onslaught. They will start to drone on through and drop down in a moment. The defenders, however, from Ominous are ready and waiting. Brian and Jarvis on the upper floor are those two. Brian has already taken a bit of damage, I believe, from the skylight because he is inside the freezer there, but will hold firm. Pre-fire on the windows as Sov is getting help from Exclusive's Capital, also there's the doorway. They saw the bandit battery that was hidden on top of that trapdoor. Sometimes you can get a lucky free set of pellets or a thermite charge if they're really blind, but hey, there's not many other places Brian wants to put his batteries at the moment. The push is coming through as Glad starts to smoke the door. We'll look through. Let's look for the yellow lights. BC is there and puts his head right in Talon's crosshairs. He will drop for it. Sovs has killed Jarvis. Brian, though, is still inside the room. He does get one kill onto Sov with his final bullet. Looking now for Talon. Talon looking right over the far side. Doesn't think about Freezer. Gets away with it this time, but the C4 from below is there for BKN. Held him in place just long enough that the heartbeat sensor was there. The Lycan just about skips away with his life too, as his back of his head skimmed by bullets from Pulse. Means Exclusive has to return to that red stair hatch, and there's no one there for it. Timing's not quite right. 3v3 as we hit a minute on the clock now. Ominous, with a little bit of a hectic defense, have managed to scramble and stabilize. Onslaught's push, which looked strong, picked up a couple of quick kills. It's been picked apart, and they now seem a bit lost and confused. Lycan around here by the B wall. Is the thermite that can breach through it? They're bringing Exclusive to join him. They don't quite have Justin yet, but this is clearly not their original plan. So will they be able to execute it well? 30 seconds on the clock. Spray's coming through into the reading room wall. Lycan has to start breaching this now. Brian's around there to the right-hand side. He's going to pre-fire it. Gets Lycan down. They can't get in through that wall anymore. They have to go through the doorways. This looks to be Onslaught's round in every way. Brian gets another kill to make sure of it. Exclusive's going to push for him. Does get the kill onto him. Has two more to find. Won't even get one. BKN secures the last one. Puts Ominous onto map point.
So, like you said, a little bit more of a chaotic defense from Ominous. The way they handled it was dissimilar to Onslaught in almost every way. Onslaught, they set up a trap. They played lightly upstairs, but they still played upstairs. They waited for the enemy team. Onslaught, or Ominous on the other hand, what they did is they set up a wall. And sure, they traded blow for blow. The round stalled out at 3-3, but they totally messed up every plan that Onslaught had. Obviously, as we saw, they had to move over to white stairs and try to get a thermite plant into the B wall, which would have worked if they had control of reading, but obviously they didn't think that far into the future in this particular strat, given that it was on the fly. So kind of a weird round from Ominous, but they did win it, so props to them.
Time then for Onslaught to head back onto the top floor for another attempt at defending here. We saw a A-site attack, a well-thought-out A-site attack from Ominous last time over. Will they be able to execute such a thing again, or are they going to go back to something a bit more standardized? Once more, they're bringing similar shaped up operators to do it.
So what's funny is actually, before I saw the attack on upstairs from both these teams, I was talking about points of contention and how they've shifted from opening up that freezer wall to opening up the doorway in Cigar and maybe even the wall next to that doorway and trying to plant near the desks over there in the open instead of trying to take control of freezer and then plant. It just let the defensive team have freezer. But both of these teams have seemed to completely switch that up and just instead, let's try and go back to taking A. Let's go from the windows. We don't need to, force ourselves into Cigar and Piano. And it's been working for, well, it's been working for Ominous, not so much Onslaught, but it is a really interesting, fresh take on this particular bomb site.
Once again, these walls being opened into Reading and into Laundry for BKN's Glaz. He droned it first as well while they were being opened up, and then I'm sure he'll head up to that sniper tower. It does look like to be that same A attack then coming out here. But once more, that trapdoor has been reinforced, and no one's going to drop through that, just like we saw last time.
Yep.
Chapstick, however, is spraying in his Hibana charges. Where did they land? What was he shooting that at? Was it the freezer wall? I think so. Don't hear them burning, so it's not a whole lot. Either way, BKN has realized that he's coming down and off of that spot and will once again start to drone. Yeah, I have no idea where they went. Maybe they were just to take out a trophy system that thought might have been in there, but
yeah,
not sure.
So Glaz has other uses than just catching people coming down that drop on that position, but he's not especially useful, and I think him getting off that position is just him acknowledging, okay, yeah, they're not going to use the drop. They're going to reinforce it every round, so I may as well not play here anymore. Ominous is taking this very slowly. They've already got half the round pretty much taken out of the round. And there's not been a single pick for either one of these teams, not one single engagement. They've just kind of been dancing around each other. They know where the defenders know where the attackers are coming from, and the attackers are not getting peeked at all. So there aren't really any options opening up for them here.
So we do start to see a little bit of movement inside. Deliken ducks himself away as the grenades start to come in from Jarvis, perfectly timed, but the next one goes through and actually does down Deliken. He's going to be revived here by Exclusive though. It gets him back up with a little bit of health to steal, but then will be shut straight back down by Jarvis. Soft trades BC out though in exchange, and they lose their Glaz at the same prime. So it is 3 versus 4 in favor of defense. However, the plant's going down. It's on top of the reinforced trapdoor, so it's actually helping the attack right now. Exclusive downed upstairs. He tries to come out from Freezer. 3v3. Good flank watch here from Brian. Make sure no one's coming out from underneath. Sov inside. Piano has to fight his way through their own defenses now to get back towards the diffuser. Brian on the stairs below picks up 1 kill before Talon trades him out himself. 2v2. Sovs and Talon coming from the same location. Chapstick now deciding he's going to drop through the top to try and support his teammate. Jarvis is inside the site. We're looking through towards the white stairs with him. Sticking prone, sticking as static as possible, waiting the clock down. Talon pre-fires around the corner and actually gets the kill onto Jarvis, but he has to push for the diffuser as Chapstick takes down Sov. Jarvis picked off by Chap, and it's a beautiful kill for the first map, in the favor of Ominous.
A great attack from Ominous, but actually I really liked Onslaught's adaptation. They saw the way Ominous is taking that site and they completely changed it up. You saw they tried to put a castle barricade onto the cigar door, but they realized later on that that wasn't necessarily the right move. So they took it down, and because of that, Sov managed to get the trade back. In the end, I think that the initiative from Ominous to just push it and get that plant, because we know that there's no one close to the bomb site itself. There's no one to actually stop it. And because that drop was reinforced, like you said, they can't C4 from underneath. That initiative was what ended up winning them that round. And in the end, some wonderful gunplay to lock it out, but I think it would have gone either way. Even if Chapstick had died there, I don't think they would have gotten the defuse. So, yeah, it was a good round from Ominous.
So you talked earlier on with us off stream how Cafe is a European meta map. It's not a big thing for North America. North America was kind of shying away from it. But now that we're seeing these two teams play it, we're seeing very different ways to do it. This A bomb site focus is nowhere to be seen in Europe right now.
We haven't seen an A bomb site focus since Season 1, like the very beginning of Season 1. It just hasn't been around on Cafe.
Why?
Well, partially because Cafe wasn't in the pool for a while.
I mean, like, why is it now being used as A?
Because, okay, so we talk about I talked about points of contentions earlier, and it becomes sort of repetition with teams sometimes when they're attacking a bomb site and they realize, okay, we know where you're going to come from. We know what we have to deal with as a defensive team. We know you're going to open up the freezer wall, and then so all we have to do is play a smoke and freezer. He can smoke you out and hold a hard 90-degree angle with a shotgun and an SMG-11, and he doesn't have to worry at all. So it switched to taking Cigar Door and pushing into the site and trying to plant behind those wooden shelves or tables, I guess. And so the way the defensive team decided to try that is they put mirrors, or to solve that, is they put mirrors on the piano wall so that they can hold freezer a little bit harder. They don't reinforce the whole thing, and that way when people are coming from Cigar, they can still have that angle from freezer into the Cigar doorway, so they don't have to worry, because when the wall's open, you can't play that anymore. So that's been kind of kaput, and then so these teams, basically both these teams are just taking something completely new, and they're going, okay, we can just change it up. We don't have to worry about any of that. All of that counter-stratting, all of that, these different angles that you have to worry about that teams have refined down to a science. We're just going to throw that out the window, and we're going to go over here instead. And it's like a totally other end of the map. So like, nobody really knows what they're doing to handle that. But anyway, we are getting into the map number 2 now, Border. It is going to be, again, match point for Ominous here. If they can just lock this one map out, they are going to be going on to the next bracket. But Onslaught, they did put up a hell of a fight on that last map. It was a deceptively one-sided scoreline. I think it was 5-2. But at the same time, Ominous, they fought for every single round.
So, looking at that new fluid ideas, the new different strategies you saw there in Cafe, Border starting off very similar to what we used to hear from Onslaught. Everything is looking very familiar. Everything is looking what we've seen before, what we saw earlier in the week. The attacking operators for Ominous are, again, near identical to what we saw them using on Cafe, bar the Thermite.
Yeah, no, a lack of a Thermite on this particular, well, they know they're going to be defending Armory. Some teams try to go to different sites on certain maps first, like say, for example, in the last map we saw one team pick Train first, and we saw one team pick Upstairs first. It was the Onslaught who picked up Upstairs and Ominous who picked Train. But pretty much exclusively on this map, everyone just goes Armory first. I have seen maybe once a team go Ventilation the first round, and I think it was in the in Europe. But yeah, again, it's pretty commonplace that we see Armory defense first, and because of that, it is surprising that we, again, yeah, like you stated, we're not seeing a Thermite. And I have to guess that based upon these spawns, obviously, kind of gives it away. They are going to be going for an Office take here, and I think they're just imagining that they're not going to need that Thermite charge to get into Office. Now, oftentimes,
even with an Office take, you'll often see a Thermite.
Right? No, I agree with you. I think it would be prudent, maybe instead of a Hibana even. Because you only need those 2 Thermite charges, and Hibana will, yes, she will get the same job done, but not as well, really. She won't get everything done. She won't get the same big hole. But she can open up a crouch hole or even a prone hole into Office, which is not reinforced, by the way, so it shouldn't matter. And then after that, she will be able to open up lines of sight into B. There are some players from Onslaught playing in CCTV, so you have to imagine that Ominous here, they've calculated their attack here based upon those roamers. They're just like, okay, maybe we just shouldn't deal with them. I'm guessing this is probably born of scrims on this particular Office take, that is.
So we'll see how it shapes. They haven't actually reinforced the other bomb site wall. The A wall that we normally see Thermite live there hasn't been reinforced at all here by Onslaught. So we'll see if they find that out and change anything about it. But they were waiting for these peaks to head on up. BC, BKM picking up the first 2 kills. Delican and Exclusive down already. As the smoke grenades are thrown towards the door, as Glaz is going to open it up. They see Ominous here spring into action. Starting to realize where the defenders are left. Sovs gets droned out and immediately shut down as he tries to reposition back after realizing he is located by the enemy team, leaving Talon and Justin alone against everyone else. Justin is below the bomb site here now, but some portions of that floor are not destructible. It's not going to be C4able if they take that diffuser into the correct spot. Let's see if they are aware of this, see if they are cautious of the possibility that there's a player below or not, and whether they plant in the right place. Even if they do lose the diffuser to the first C4 charge, may not be the end of the world. They have such a huge numbers advantage right now.
Right.
Talon inside the small office has obviously been droned multiple times and now spotted by BKN. They are pinning him in. Chap comes in with a diffuser and the smoke starts to go out. Chap not taking too much damage from it, but he will from that C4. The diffuser gets dropped and they immediately realize they have to reposition. Talon has been taken out, so the smoke is gone. Justin is the last man left alive and he's downstairs now. So they take the entire bomb, rotate it away from B, and have gone to put it in the A bomb site now. Plant's going down, and while there's a camera locating his spot, it's not enough time to get there. Justin way too late to make that happen, and still now has to find 4 people, one of them being a Blackbeard, as if it wasn't hard enough. He finds Bryant and can't even win that fight. So that is round number 1 out of the bag. It was a tough fight to win, and as a result, Ominous take round number 1.
So that was an interesting round from Onslaught, mostly. The Ominous take was pretty what we would expect. It's, you know, something not necessarily new, not like what they were doing on Cafe. They were attacking offices, which is a little bit less common than just trying to push their way straight into A through the wall and through CCTV. But obviously they knew Onslaught was going to be holding CCTV, so they decided not to deal with it. But the real, I think what really cost Onslaught that round was they were just a little too antsy. You saw that Rook, he peeked up into Glass, who was just waiting. He didn't need to necessarily play that position in the first place at all. I mean, it's very common, and you know, attackers often pre-fire it or just hold the angle and wait. And then there was the Castle, who was playing in CCTV. He started to get antsy. He knew that the team wasn't going to be taking CCTV, so he started to put himself in a position to try and stop that office's take. But then he ran away with no prompting at all, and he got caught in the back.
So the Rook peeked up.
Yeah.
Yes, he was into Glaz's spot, but he peeked up because they were peeking elsewhere. The other, I can't remember the other operator, but they timed a duo peek. They wanted to get a crossfire on and try and pick people off. Now they've been droned, so Ominous were ready for it. The Castle, he went to push and went to flank into office because 2 teammates are down. He has to try and do something. His turning around and running away was because there was a drone sitting there right in front of him as he came through the wall. He went out the wall and went, oh, there's a drone, crap, shoot it, and I've been spotted. So
but when you're exposed, when you're exposed at that angle, like you moving in the same angle that you're exposed to is not going to help you. You have to reposition in a way where you're not going to be getting shot in the back. And yes, okay, I imagine you should reposition maybe, or you should just try. And if there's nowhere for you to go where you're not going to be safe, or you're going to be safe, then just try and fight out your position, because he had a defensible position in that doorway to offices. He could have feasibly held that. He just opted not to, and I think that was the wrong decision. As for the Rook, I mean, you know, it's nifty to have that time peak, but obviously, yeah, they droned it out. That was a default
camera. That's a small mistake from Onslaught. Haven't even killed the default camera, showing exactly where Sledge is coming into. Downstairs, BKN is going to be heartbeat censoring around. He, of course, can C4 up through the floor of the plant if needed later on. They used, obviously, a Valkyrie, or Onslaught used a Valkyrie to do it themselves. But Ominous going to use a Pulse like we saw on Cafe. They do, however, know he's down here. They're droning to look for him. They're droning to pin him, and they're doing exactly that. But he's going to happily waste a lot of their time here, trying to keep them busy as they push this floor. More and more drones being sent his way, more and more time ticking down on the clock. So kind of alone really here on the push towards this Pulse, while the rest of Onslaught are looking and sort of half probing and pushing the floors above, but
they're very
really
spread out.
Doing much. Now they seem to be doing something. You see they're all sporting towards this left side. They're all coming around toward office in the east staircase, and it does look like Sovs is just going to sit there and pin BKN into the workshop from a distance.
It's interesting the way that Onslaught is trying to handle this particular round. Ominous, instead of dealing with the roamers, simply compartmentalized their attack and tried to push in a very concise way without having to, well, exposing themselves to roamers at all. Sure, they exposed themselves to C4 from underneath, but they had such a man advantage it didn't matter. Now, Onslaught, on the other hand, they're trying to hunt down those roamers. They're going for it full force, and it's wasting a lot of time.
Brian got down by a grenade and fell through the trapdoor. Talon just dropped down there to pick him up and revive him. So now there's actually 3 Ominous players downstairs. And I'm not sure whether Onslaught have enough drones live to know this. They droned in the site and they droned downstairs and they lost a lot of them. They're expecting 1 player down there. I'm not sure they're expecting 3. The flashbangs are coming into B. The push and the pressure is coming on through. Onslaught have Justin watching the flank, but there's 2 players coming that way now. Chapsticks takes down Sov. That's the first man out of the attacking team, but they have done a lot of damage to that smoke. If they can finish him off, it will be very helpful getting inside this site. 42 seconds to go, and he still has a few grenades to help pin them out there, and these 3 roamers need to start making an impact somewhere soon. Pulse is going back towards the site. using that heartbeat sensor from below as they're ready for the plant to come in. There's the diffuser drop now, exclusive fall to BC. BKN takes down Delican as well, and the attack is falling apart once more here for Onslaught. They finally pick up a kill of their own onto BC. Justin getting credit for that one, as Talon Smoke is now picking up the diffuser and looking to pressure on through it deeper. Justin rushes inside the site and will be taken out by Chapstick with the SMG-11 and then the shotgun. And while Talon is now alone and he can look through the smoke grenades, he grabs the one onto Chap, does catch a quick sight of this mirror inside the small office, but can only tag her before the time runs down, and the defenders win the round.
So I have to attribute that loss to simply trying to hunt those roamers down. As you said earlier, there were 3 roamers at one point, and they wasted a good half of the round in the beginning before there were 3, just trying to kill the 2 that were down there. And they didn't. They did not get them. They spent too much time. They didn't have anything to show for it. And ultimately, when they started pushing into the site, they had, I mean, yeah, they could have easily taken on those 2 if they knew at the time, but at that point, it was, I think it was 1 minute left. They just didn't, yeah, it just too much time wasted on roamers, not enough time spent taking the site, which is the opposite of what we saw from Ominous on that same exact attack.
So, time for Ominous to look to stretch their lead with another attack. They're already 2-0 up. Onslaught, though, will have looked and learned and taken something from that previous round. What is it? Is it enough? That is the question, as they do now look to shape up for another defense of this top floor. Ominous, once again, going without the thermite, comfortable with how that went. Let's see where and what they do with it.
I'm guessing it's likely going to be another office take, based upon, like you said, the lack of a thermite. And again, we're not seeing a Montaigne. We have not seen a single Montaigne from these either of these teams throughout this entire matchup, so it seems like both of them are pretty soundly relying on Glaz for that particular role, and it's working for, well, at least Ominous.
On this map, that doesn't surprise either, right? We talked about this with you.
No, it's
even
just
though we
too
saw
dynamic.
it, yeah, even though we saw it played here, this is a very vertical, very dynamic map in which you can easily bait Montaigne into spots where he's C4able or shootable in the back or flankable, and yeah, it was displayed in the European games, and it is being avoided for that reason.
Yeah. And we're seeing from Onslaught, they're holding CCTV again. They're dedicating that same amount of utility and that same amount of manpower, seemingly, at the beginning of this round to CCTV. Now, you have to wonder if that's the right decision based upon the fact that they're, well, last time Ominous attacked this, they came from offices. Are you not expecting that again, Onslaught? Do you think they're going to mix it up? Because I really don't. Ominous is one of those teams that throughout this matchup, they have shown that they have an attack that they know works, and they roll with it. And it works. You know, they're getting those picks they need to make it work. And I really feel like, okay, yes, Onslaught, you did it. You reinforced all 3 of those walls and offices this time, so that's fantastic. But you're also still spending that utility and those people in CCTV, and I feel like they're not really achieving anything from there.
Yeah, once again, Brian downstairs watching the flank, BCC top of the stairs, as you see, BKN watching that same angle. Delican's not there this time. They did learn from that. They have adjusted slightly.
Yes.
He is still in the same B site, and he's droning and checking the cameras and stuff for the Jaeger that's close by. Here is Chapstick's job as the hit banner, getting them in, not actually to the site, getting them into the office, and this is why we say thermite would be better, because one charge does that, one charge does the bomb site.
She's going to have a line of sight, but no actual entry besides the door.
So that could be very predictable, and it's very destructible from below for the defensive team if they can make such a play. But they have to get down past Brian and past the other people watching the flank first. They are still alive for a lot longer, though. This is an interesting idea, exclusive. Killing people with an ADS is a new one for me, but he does get his gun back out now. Delican dodging away as the grenades come through. There's the exclusive putting the ADS down now. It's ready to take out the follow-up grenades. Another one comes through into the corridor here from Jarvis. Does blow up on the other side of the desk and not do any damage to himself because he's hidden behind the solid wall. Smoke grenades coming through. Glaz is going to push aggressively onto this, and Exclusive has pinned himself in the corner because of it. Just in a crossover in CCTV, he gets picked out by Jarvis' pre-fire. BKN does get Exclusive after all of that. And even though it took longer to do it this time, Ominous still figured out exactly where the defenders were and are now singling them out and picking them off one by one. The smoke grenades are coming out from Talon now to try and pin them back into the office, though. And with 45 seconds to go on the clock, it might actually be working this time. Delican tucked in that corner, does get a good angle on Chap and actually picks him off with the diffuser down. Looks for the next one, too greedy though. Jarvis wins that firefight and the B side is open and exposed. Talon is at a distance. He has one smoke grenade left but 30 seconds to cover. Brian's already inside the room now. It's too slow. Brian's taking damage from it, but as he pushes forward, Talon gets 2 actually. It's a beautiful pickup for him, holding his team into this round. Now, BKN. BC pushing on in, 2v1. Talon doesn't have any smoke grenades. He's got the SMG-11 and a shotgun. 15 seconds to go. BKN inside the site is planting. The push forward comes through. Talon takes down BC, and he gets BKN! Talon with a 4K to hold Onslaught and get him their first round.
This pre-fire coming out from BKN in the hallway was what ended up costing them that round. If he had simply waited, there was no way that Talon could have expected him to be holding from those stairs. And ultimately, beautiful play by Talon. Like, you have to attribute that win to him entirely. But I have to feel like I can't help but feel like Onslaught or Ominous rather kind of threw that round towards the end, trying to we've got the 4-to-1 man advantage. We can just go ahead and push into the site now. We don't have to worry about anything. They exposed themselves unnecessarily. They stood in smokes, and because of that, yeah, they kind of handed that to Talon on a silver platter. Although it was fantastic play from Talon, honestly.
Yeah, so the two previous deaths, yes, but then the 2v1 at the end here,
yeah,
he played that beautifully himself. So
if Thatcher did not pre-fire, if he simply waited to see the smoke, he could have easily held out that round. He gave himself away. It's unfortunate.
Or to be fair, he didn't, like, all he had to do was pre-fire it. It did the job, right? It scared him. It kept him off the plant. The plant was almost done. What he screwed up was then peeking in afterwards. That's when he could. If he'd have just stayed down the staircase.
Pre-fire and then get a little bit safe.
Yeah, pre-fire and then just stay safe. BC's either going to have to push you, in which case Glaz finishes the plant and then kills him, or he doesn't push you and he just hides and you still get the plant done. But yeah, he peeked again and he'd given his position away and it was a free kill for Talon. Beautiful.
But I want to talk more about also that round. So that round in its entirety was Ominous's round. They played that perfectly. It was their strategy was well thought out. Onslaught, they were trying to play from CCTV at one point, and you know that works. You can open up that angle, but all that Ominous really has to do is challenge it, because they can keep themselves only exposed to the CCTV angle and win that firefight easily with their rifles. So that attack from Ominous was great. They handled it well. They pushed in slowly. They got the picks. It was very methodical, very well thought out. But it just really came down to a clutch from Talon in the end. But that's keeping them now. Onslaught. That's keeping them in this matchup because again, it is match up point, I suppose, in a sense, where if Ominous wins this, they will be pushing Onslaught down in the bracket and moving themselves forward. Just this one map.
I think those Hibana charges are a little bit misplaced and may not be.
Oh, just barely does.
It just about work. Okay, so he can't get through. Better give him a shot lane in, and Jarvis picks up the first kill onto Soft. So the attackers lose their sledge. Pushes now forward before reloading his main gun. BC takes down Exclusive. It's another attacker gone, but it's Hibana. She has done her job already, but it still leaves them in a 3v5 situation. The flank from Jarvis is looking around the corner momentarily. He's going to see Talent if he keeps it going. Brian's taken down to Lycan, and Ominous were not happy with losing that last round, and they are very quickly looking to get themselves back up in that 2-round lead. Justin comes around the corner, just about survives it. They do see Talent peek on in and take down BC, but he'll be flanked by Jarvis as soon as it happens, and now Justin is alone against 4. Now, we saw a 1v4 clutch from Talon before, but he's already dead, and it's time for Justin to step on up. They don't know exactly where he is by now. They did see him in Passport, but he has rotated around outside and is creeping through slowly. 3 smoke grenades to play with, 1 breach around to play with, and a sideline into the bomb site itself. The diffuser is down. They do know it's down. It was spotted by Brian and Jarvis when they killed the Glaz. And they are holding all the different entryways until they hear this vault. Brian didn't actually hear it. Does blink around. It does see him at the last second as he sprints into the room. And Justin will fall to put Ominous back up 2 rounds. 3 rounds to 1 in total.
So Justin was going for that, all right, Onslaught's the ultimate clutch team sort of thing. But unfortunately, he played it a little bit too fast. He tried to sprint onto that bandit. That didn't work for him. Now, Onslaught's take, however, is more important, I guess, in this particular instance. They tried to take from... What do you call that? Teller's Visa? I'd call it Teller's. They try to take from Teller's bathroom, which is something that we don't see a whole lot of. Most teams, what they'll try to opt to do is take from above. They'll take control of Armory, same as well as you would do in an Armory take, for that matter. They'll go through CCTV, move their way into Armory, and then just kind of work their way down into the site, open up the drops, get those picks through the floor. It is a fully destructible floor. And that is not at all what we saw here. And Ominous were clearly ready for it. I guess they were expecting Onslaught to try and take that way. And I really don't think it's the right way to handle that particular site. I think it's a new idea, maybe not new, but a different idea, a different approach. But it doesn't necessarily work when a team is conscious of the fact that you're going to be doing that. Especially, and again, this is something that we've seen time and time again with both of these teams, a lack of a thermite. So when you're going to try, when your whole strat hinges on going through a reinforced wall, yeah, you can do it with 3 Hibana charges, but you're not going to get as much maneuverability with 3 Hibana charges. They could have opened that entire wall with a thermite. Another thing, they didn't hold the flank from that Jaeger. He was free to just go ahead and push straight into the hallway and stop them at any time they tried to push through their little Hibana hole.
That's because they couldn't get into waiting room because of the
Yeah,
bandit. Because they couldn't get rid of the bandit either. Because they tried to send one person that way and he died, and then they were stuck.
They needed to clamp down on that on that half of the map. They needed to take control of east stairs before they did any of, or southeast stairs before they did any of that take at all. It just was kind of a little bit loose and not contained.
That said, now Ominous are onto attack of the downstairs site themselves and have once again also brought no Thermite. They're just going with Hibana. But they have brought themselves a Buck, so they are going to go for a pressure from above in a heavy fashion here. They're droning it and checking it's clear first as they pre-fire into the east stairs. Sovsov's realizing they're coming his way and is starting to castle himself in and dig in deep. He's got Justin up here with him, and they are going to try and two-man hold this upper floor as best they can. But as we've seen before, Ominous have been very methodical with their picks and with their clears earlier on. So now that they're starting to make this push through, now that the drones are starting to feed information to the aggressors, how long can Sovsov and Justin last?
So this is a little bit more similar to what we've seen before on this particular bomb site, or this take that is. And they're trying to, whereas they're trying to take above. They're not taking from CCTV, but they're taking from offices, which is what they've been doing this whole time. The only difference is the bomb site's underneath them now. So once they take above, once they get rid of these roamers, if they can, they will then just open up the floor and shoot the anchors.
So Buck starts making some holes in the wall to give an angle in towards lockers. Sovs has to fall back now because of it. BKN using his rifle to make some holes in the walls and give him another angle in towards lockers as well himself. Sees Justin in the end, does tag him once, gets drunked a little bit, I believe. I don't know if that shows up on Spectator at the moment.
It does sometimes.
It does, okay. So in that case it didn't affect him.
But sometimes.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was more that he doesn't drunk sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, Justin down to the far end again, droned out, has been tagged once. Sovs tries to peek just as BKN moves away and is lucky to be alive. More and more destruction coming in, but these two are still delaying this push very well.
Ooh.
Shots coming through the wall, go down for a down. He does manage to take off the enemy without finishing off his teammate. Justin's pinned in the corner, still fighting back and forth, does get down by Jarvis. BC will come in and finish him off. So they have taken out those two upstairs, but with only 50 seconds to go now, they've got 3 more to find downstairs. They've got to pick the diffuser back up again, and they've really got to reposition this. Exclusive hiding in the toilet with a nice rotate. Talon hiding inside one of the sites with the Lycan close by. Talon gets spotted by BKN, but he can't get the kill. Now he starts to breach his way in towards the site, but Talon's rotating in there. It's another good kill, the SMG-11 onto BKN. Switching it up now is to a 4v3. 30 seconds to go. Ominous looking a little bit twitchy right now as they realize they're running out of time. Smoke grenades going into the back site. Default cameras still being taken out. Up and above through the hole, Delican finds one, but he will be picked off by Brian. They quickly push on in as a 5, and just their superior numbers trading kill after kill means they will come out on top.
Yeah, and Ominous, this is something that they've been doing time and time again, and it really displays their confidence as a team, as a unit. They're very cohesive. They understand what needs to get done. Where Onslaught will rely on one person to fulfill one role and simply put them in that little island by themselves, and hopefully they succeed. And if they don't, they lose the round. Onslaught will do that. Ominous, what they've been doing is, okay, if we just throw enough bodies at it, if we just trade each other back enough, which is what we've seen in other games before, then we will win the round, because we just need to apply the pressure where it's necessary, where the defensive team isn't focused, and we apply it with, again, enough people. It's going to go our way. It's going to, because the numbers will swing into our favor. So let's say you run into, they just ran into the door in that case. Let's say you run into the door and there's only 1 or 2 people playing in that site. They're going to expect one guy, sure. They're going to expect one guy to maybe challenge that doorway. They're not going to expect a second one to follow it up. And that's exactly what we've been seeing from Ominous time and time again. They just follow each other up. They trade each other back. There's always somebody to kill whomever killed a player on Ominous. And that's fantastic teamwork and synergy. And again, I was talking earlier on what was it, Cafe? I was talking on Cafe how they have that initiative to just go into the site, and it's working so well for them.
Ominous onto defense then of the upper floor themselves once more. Look at these numbers. Talon with that round stepping up to bring the win is
he wants to keep themselves in here.
Doing anything really, looking at the numbers there on Onslaught. They are trying their best. They've got some ideas in mind, but everything they're trying, Ominous has an answer for. The only thing they didn't was, as I said, Talon stepping up into 1, and that scoreboard reflects it. So we'll see if they can change that in this attack.
This is reminiscent of a matchup that I'm familiar with from past teams, is Orbit GG versus Flipside. And what we would see often in that matchup was Orbit GG would just go and do something spontaneous, similar to Ominous. And Flipside, being a very strategic team, very strategy-based team, they just wouldn't be able to adapt in time. Now, that's probably not what we're going to see from the flip side of this day and age. I'm guessing they've probably made the necessary changes to move on from that. But that's what we're seeing here in this matchup. Ominous versus Onslaught. Onslaught, they have their strats. Like you said, they have their plans. They're just not working for them. And Ominous, all they're doing to counter them really is just applying themselves, you know, having patience, and then using their initiative when it's necessary, just running into the site or pushing something all together as a team and being very compartmentalized. And it's working for them.
So, as we do start to see the pressure once again coming in towards the site, Talent making holes on the wall, locking these Ominous players into spots that they can't really move from. They know, each one of them knows if they step out from their little angles, they step out from these little spots, there's going to be someone from Onslaught watching them. Delican on the air conditioning vents. Talon, who are repelling on the east balcony. Justin is outside droning, but he's the man with the diffuser. They're just trying to make sure they know exactly where each one is before they go on in. They do now have sightlines on 2 players inside the office. He is going to Hibana the rest of the wall open to a point where they can vault on through. Lycan's still on the air conditioning unit, still 5v5 at the moment with a minute 10 on the clock going through. When they push into this office, they got to do it quick and they got to do it fast, because they're going to run out of time to get the bomb down afterwards anyway. Grenades are looking to take out the castle barricades. Doesn't quite get it done. Next one goes on down as Exclusive. His team killed Talon, and it is not a good start for them. Castle barricade does go down this time from Sovs, but they are 1 grenade down now. Does miss the smoke by milliseconds. Does miss the bandit as well, but Justin will take him out from behind instead. Justin, though, finished off by Chap now from inside the site, and Jarvis, the other man inside the office, has taken out Sovs. Exclusive chase Jarvis back, but Delican's on the east balcony, and Chap has taken down the last Thatcher inside. Delican is now 1v3 to keep Onslaught's dreams alive here. Or they will be falling down to the loser side of the group. Chapsticks finish off Exclusive. BC trades onto the Delican. BKN is now going to peek on out. He's full health, and that is map 2 and the entire series to Ominous in a lot more of a convincing scoreline than I think anyone expected.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate that, but I think it really came down to, again, Onslaught, very strategic. Ominous, they're constantly trading each other back. So they got that pick onto the bandit playing in offices, but they didn't expect Jaeger to be playing that same exact position, and he managed to trade back. Not only that, but Chapstick also, he killed the person who killed Bandit, I believe. So it's a case of Ominous just being in position to... they're setting themselves up where they know the enemy's going to be coming from on defense, and they're just putting their bodies on the line. And then when they die, they're confident. They know their teammate is going to be ready to kill the guy who killed them. Just trade it back. And a lot of teams actually put themselves in that position. It's surprising somewhat in Pro League how many teams are not, you know, focusing on trade backs, focusing on, okay, he killed me, now you need to kill him to keep it balanced out. Oftentimes they'll put a player in a position similar to what we saw from Onslaught. They'll put a player in a position where, like, okay, we need to hold offices, so you stay in offices and you hold it. And if you die, you die, and that's that. And we'll move to the next tier of our defense, which is now we need to hold the B site. And it didn't work for Onslaught.
No, yeah, those trade kills, especially when you can get these early picks, like we saw regular, you get that early pick. From there, you've got the numbers advantage. You can lose a person, but then trade it back. And you can lose a person and then trade it back. And you'll always win that because you have that numbers advantage to begin with.
Right.
Even when that situation was there, wasn't able to pull it out of the bag. It wasn't quite there. And you say they are very strategy heavy. Everyone's strategy heavy. That's the game. But they
Onslaught
are
relies
like,
on their strats.
Everyone relies on their strats, but like Onslaught have very predetermined strats. Onslaught
that's
are
the way to
not
put
a
it.
flexible team. They're a very rigid team. They have their plans and they stick to them and they can't go off them. Ominous have their plans, but once they start to fall apart,
they're like, okay, we can just play off each other.
They're trusting each other. They have great synergy just in natural play, and they can adjust on the fly, and they are flexible with it, and it is working beautifully for them there. Question is it going to continue working against other opponents later in the group? Have to wait and see, but I'm impressed by what I see there.
I honestly think it will work for them. It is something, their level of, the way they play off of each other is some, other teams have done it in the past, and other teams are doing it as of this moment. But it's to the level that they were doing today is something that I feel like is genuinely unique. Similar to how we saw Sisu play in Europe. It's different. Sisu's playing in a totally different way. But the level that they're playing at with the strategy and the mentality and the way they're handling themselves is totally different than every other team. It's on another level. And I feel like Ominous is kind of showing up in that same exact way in the opposite context.
That's such a beautiful shot to see.
I know.
There. It's like a whack-a-mole.
He's just ready.
Yeah, they just had it figured. They had it droned, they had it noted. Look at that, straight instant 2 kills. We start peeking here, you peek here, and bang, we got another trade back 1 and 2. Same things as before. There were a couple of nice shots in there from Onslaught. They were ready for a couple of moments. Talon, again, I cannot stress enough, that was a beautiful round from him.
Here's the thing about that, though, is the only round that they got was that clutch from Talon. If he hadn't clutched that round out, it would have been a 5-0 victory in Ominous's favor. And we saw the scoreboard earlier. It was just Talon. It was straight up just Talon.
Yeah.
He was the only one on the scoreboard.
That was because of that one round. And this was a nice kill up through the floor from Delican, but as you mentioned, immediately there afterwards, as soon as he grabs down Jarvis, Ominous were there to trade it out and just shut it back down again. And they had, as of that point, the 4v3. So with just one man dies, another one trades, one man dies, another one trades, one man dies, and we win the round because the last man left alive has to kill out the last man. It's just FPS basics. You're there to trade.
And it's interesting because I think it comes down to Siege being a totally different kind of FPS. It is genuinely unique. I feel like a lot of pro teams handle the way they go into Pro League totally different than every other FPS out there.
There are some things that are universal, though.
Yeah, there are some things that are universal.
Like that, which Ominous have done beautifully.
Yeah.
They've taken those universal things,
but think about,
and they've added the Siege side of it.
Yeah.
And it's come together.
It's working beautifully.
Beautiful synchronicity.
Yeah. But think about how many other teams play in the same way that Onslaught play, in that they have a strat, they are rigidly relying on that strat. They do not adjust, and they don't focus on trade backs. They don't focus on, okay, you died, now I need to, I need to get that recompense. I need to get ourselves back into the match. It's not a mind game of, like, for them, they're focusing on the objective. They're not thinking about the scoreboard, the player count. They're not thinking, okay, now they've got the man advantage, that needs to change. We need to change that or we lose this round. And the way that Ominous is handling it is just that. They're like, okay, somebody dies on our team, somebody has to die on the other team. It has to happen, otherwise we lose the round. And that level of aggression is just something we don't see in other teams. We're much more tuned.
We did see from Sisu.
We saw something similar with Sisu, but that was, I think, it was more heavy strat based, and that they were strat based, but they weren't rigid, and they were playing off of each other instead of just putting someone out on an island and relying on their individual skill to win the round, which is what Onslaught was doing. Yeah,
like we saw multiple occasions, Sisu defending very same map, border, CCTV room. Okay, the pushes were office there in Onslaught Ominous, but CCTV room push came through from Barrage. And while we had a Montaigne coming straight in and pinning a Castle in a corner, and we had a smoke on the other side being pushed out, Kanto Raketi immediately goes, hang on a minute, my 2 teammates are pinned in here, sprints in from a third angle. Barrage had no idea was coming, had no expectation of. They've droned these 2 and know where these 2, and a third man appears out of nowhere, and Kanto cleans up 3 quick headshots because of that on-the-fly, quick decision-making, quick coverage. Even if his 2 teammates had died then, even if those had all been trade kills, that's exactly what we said. The numbers advantage is straight back in the defender's favor. Whereas in that situation where Onslaught were pushed in the same way, Onslaught, the 3 players that were left on the other side, saw these 2 players get pushed and went, good luck. And they died. And now you're 5v3. And then you get stuck in a bad control. All it takes is one of those other players to step up and go, okay, peek out for a moment, trade some of those kills back, and you might have got lucky with it. We did see them attempt it. We saw when that beautiful whack-a-mole glass shot went off, we did see those 2 peek up. The Lycan tried to crossfire with Justin, and they fell down. And Soft thought, I should be trading here. And that's when we saw him jump out of CCTV. That's where him try and get a shot, but get spots by the drone, tries to run away. The idea was sort of in his head.
I feel like what's happening
couldn't execute it.
Is on Onslaught's side. I feel like what's happening is, yeah, you're right. They know what they need to do. I just feel like they're not playing off of each other instinctively the way that Ominous is, because Ominous is like,
they're just do it without thinking.
Yeah, exactly. They have all of their teammates in their mind, and they're constantly playing out exactly what's going to be happening, whether or not it does. So like when they're pushing into offices, they're pushing in together as a team, and they're like, okay, so my teammate's coming from here, here, and here, and I'm pushing in here, and one of a few things is going to happen. Either I'm going to get picked off and my teammate's going to trade me back, or my teammate's going to get picked off and I'm going to trade them back. That's what's going to happen. And I feel like Ominous they're relying on that, and it's working great for them. But whereas Onslaught is the whack-a-mole shot that you were talking about, that synergy is manufactured. It's not like I've been playing with Sky.
Oh no, that was a countdown. It was like peak in 3, 2,
1. Exactly.
Yeah, like
and it's not knowing your teammates. It's not just fluidly going with the flow. It's not a river. It's kind of just like a structure. It didn't work for Ominous. But I think sorry, didn't work for Onslaught rather. I think what we're seeing with Sisu is, again, like you were talking about, it's very similar to what we saw from Ominous, but I feel like it's more of a strategy refined. So it's the same thing,
Yeah,
but it's like
they have their
have
revised strategy, they
right.
have their practice, they have Sisu, they've been around for years, and then they've got this natural synergy on top of it.
I think their experience. I think both of these two teams are kind of at the forefront right now. Now I know we all like to say CCM. You know, they are the champions, and there's other teams like Era, for example. They've always made it to that second place, but never been able to push it over the top. And there's also a lot of European teams that are extremely talented right now. But from what we've seen so far, only being 3 days into the Pro League, Ominous and Sisu have been on top of their game as far as for the two different, what we've seen so far. I'm really interested to see if we're going to see from other teams something similar where they're pushing themselves into that new mentality, bringing simply just synergy and FPS basics that that they've been displaying. I'm not sure if other teams are going to be able to make that adaptation or if they're going to be something similar to what we've seen in previous seasons, but it is really exciting to watch that type of team play. It is so much better.
Well, we're going to find out if our next two teams can do that in a short break. Flipside versus Most Wanted will be back and will be up after this very short break. When we come back, it will be Kickstar and Bloodbath taking you through their second game. So that is it from me for the night. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you, or he will see you, after this short break.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second series of tonight's North American Play Day, number 2 right now. I am your host, Sean Bloodbath Rosenbaum, and beside me, you all know him. His name is Kickstar. Kicks, how you doing?
Hey guys, it's good to be back. Obviously, after that 5-minute break, we're going to be coming up with an awesome matchup now, Most Wanted versus Flipside, and I'm super excited to cast it.
Yeah, I mean, so the matchup that we have right now for you guys, the second one of tonight, is going to be Flipside against Most Wanted. And we do have an interview lined up with each member of the teams here. Let's kick it right into our first interview, which is going to be with Flipside, and that is going to be Mint.
Yeah. Which
Mint,
we should have in a moment.
We should have in a moment.
Maybe.
He might. Yeah, I think they're still working on getting him up. But in the meantime, talking about Flipside. Oh, we are ready.
Let's get right into it.
We're ready to go. All right, so let's talk to Mint here. Mint, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Blood. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, dude. So tell me a little bit about your team, because you were in the 6th Invitational, or you were competing for the 6th Invitational, and unfortunately you didn't get to that to the LAN final. But I spoke with you earlier today, and you said your roster has stayed the same since.
Right. So during the 6th Invitational, we fell 2 rounds short to Era team,
Okay.
which in my opinion was like the strongest roster they've ever had. So we fell 2 rounds short to that. I didn't really feel like that, needed a roster change. I kind of believe in we can work that out. Let's play a little bit more. Let's build onto the strat book. So we've been the same ever since, and just really looking forward to coming into the season with all the extra practice we've got.
Gotcha. So you've decided you're staying with the same roster, which I think, in my eyes, keeps a very good synergy feel to the team. You've been working with the same team for a while. Do you feel like that is one of the strong points that your team can bring to the matchup tonight?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw the top 2 teams had a little bit of a shuffle going on. So I feel like with our team, I think it definitely helps with our teamwork, and we're able to be very adaptive with each other. I mean, we've been playing together for almost 5 months now. The core of us have been playing since the beginning of the game, so I definitely think that helps.
Awesome. So not to give away anything of what we might see to come today, but is there something you're leaning towards map-wise? I'll leave the map bans for when they show up on screen, but if you had your top map to pick, what do you think it would be?
It's asking quite a lot there.
Maybe not your team, but your favorite one.
My favorite map is Bank. I feel like it allows you to be very versatile. I mean, you can roam on it. You can bunker all down into the basement. So personally,
Gotcha.
That's my favorite map. But
all right. So if there's nothing else, guys, let's head back and check out your roster. Mint, thank you very much for your interview.
Thank you.
All right, so we heard it from Mint that they've kept the same roster.
Yes.
They're feeling very, very synergetic, if you will. They're feeling like they've got the roster that they need to take the win.
Yeah, and I feel like Flipside, being a very old team that's been playing not since the very beginning together, but for a very, very long time, I think since maybe it was Season 2.
Yep.
I feel like that synergy that they're going to have going into this matchup, we haven't seen them really play since Season 3.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're going to bring something new to the table, strategy-wise especially. But we should have their roster up on screen. There it is.
There it is.
So Flipside Tactics is going to be Team Captain Mint, Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, Pojo Man, Hot and that finishes it with Cold, and Zilchi. So again, yeah, pretty much the same roster. They've been around for a long time. They've been together for a long time. And when I'm watching this team, what I'm expecting to see from them right now is something completely different than what we've seen from them Season 3. Some new adaptations, some changes. Because yes, they have stayed the same roster, but if they haven't made necessary changes to their team play and to their strategy, then I feel like they're going to be a little bit behind here. I'm sure they've made those changes. We'll find out in a moment. But we have an interview now with I think Gurmy.
We've got Gurmy from Most Wanted going to be joining us in just a moment. But what I want to just mention first about Flipside is, like you said, you're expecting to see some brand new stuff from them that many other teams aren't aware of, because these guys put in a lot of effort.
Yeah.
I feel like of the teams that we've seen, I'd say Continuum Era and Flipside put the most effort into learning cheeky angles and cheeky spots about maps.
Right.
And with Flipside, one thing that comes to mind is during Season 3, we saw them play on Consulate. I remember I was sitting here with Emzo, and we saw them plant the diffuser in the top corner office of Consulate, and everyone else was outside. No one else had touched foot inside of Consulate.
Right.
And they managed to get in, get the plant down, and get the win on that round.
Right.
And I'm thinking, how did that happen? I remember thinking that.
They just sneaked their way in there, nice and ninja-like.
They did. So we are going to move into our next interview here with Gurmy from Most Wanted. Gurmy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome, splendid. So you're here in the Pro League right now under Most Wanted, but before you were previously known as another team name, and that was Honor Among Thieves, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. So seeing as how Most Wanted was in the scene, they had chosen Orglis previously. What to them stood out, or what stood out about you to them? Do you know?
Well, we were pretty much scrim partners with Era at that point,
Okay.
and then Most Wanted was looking for an org to pick up, and then I believe it was Slash who mentioned our name to the org owners at Most Wanted, and they trusted Slash. Picked us up in the end.
As everyone does. Yes, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, congratulations on picking up Most Wanted. Now, tell us a little bit about your team and your team makeup, because I feel like some of your players have been in the pro scene before. Some are more well known than others. So give us just a little rundown about your team in general.
Well, the core members were me, my man, and Thinking Nade, and none of us have been in the pro league. But through some roster changes and whatnot, we ended up picking up Easily and Foxa in the end.
Okay.
Who were pro league members, and teams stuck together. We did pretty well together.
Awesome.
Now we're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the insight into your team. We're going to cut to your team roster now. But thank you again, Gurmy, for all your info.
Thank you.
So, as you heard it, Most Wanted's here. There are 3 core players who've never seen pro before.
Right.
But they have 2 others on their teammate, Foxy,
Right.
and I believe he said it was sort of
Thinking Nade. Well, there was Gurmy, Foxay, Esley.
Esley, that's who it was.
Thinking Nade, and my man. I love that name. So this is the Most Wanted lineup. This is a pretty fresh lineup. There are 2 players, Foxay and Esley, who were in Pro League previously. However, for the most part, this team is pretty fresh to the Pro League. They did make it here though, so that says a lot about them as a team. Going up against Flipside, this is pretty much night and day. You've got a very new roster and a very new team going up against one of the oldest, I think probably the oldest consistent roster maybe in the Pro League overall.
I think the majority of Flipside, like you said, stuck together from the very beginning. They used to be called Got 'em Gaming at the very start.
Yeah.
And then you still have Easy Peasy. You've got Pojo. You've got Mint. They've all been on that team. They've all continued into Flipside. And I think what we're going to see is hopefully that cohesiveness from Flipside showing today.
Right.
But
I think so too.
I think also on Most Wanted we're going to see a lot of I'd say a lot of new stuff. I feel like these guys have a lot to prove.
Well, they are the new guys on the block, so hopefully they're bringing new strats to the scene. But without further ado, we should probably take a look at the map pool. So here we have Bank, Border, Chalet, Clubhouse, Coastline, Consulate, Cafe, Oregon, and Skyscraper. Of course, the change to this map pool from the previous season being the swap for Canal and Coastline, the new map in the league. And in the game overall, really. I think we're going to be having
so we'll have map bans in a moment here. But I feel like I want to see Coastline in today's game. But
I want to see Coastline.
I want to see it, but I don't think we're going to.
I mean, I don't think we're going to either. Be honest, I think Flipside. I don't know why that was so challenging. I think Flipside is probably going to ban it, given that it's. I mean, it's entirely possible they don't. Again, we haven't seen Flipside play really since Season 3, which was pretty long time ago.
Yep.
So it's entirely possible that they hunkered down on Coastline and they decided we want to be something front runner in this map.
A part of me sees Flipside as the team that plays the original maps.
Oh,
because
very much.
they're able to spend a lot of time on them digging through stuff that people aren't expecting. And so in a brand new map, it's very hard to gauge what's expected from the other team. Whereas like on if you're defending or you're attacking, whichever way, on an older map, you kind of know what the other team's going to do, generally speaking. And Flipside is one of those teams that can turn that around.
You know, I agree. I agree, definitely. But we should have the map bans up, right?
Yep,
there we
there
go.
we go.
So we're going to be doing the map bans. We're going to jump right into it. I am really interested to see what's going to happen with Coastline, like you talked about earlier. So we've got Most Wanted, right? They're a new team. They might want to bring it to Coastline because they want to bring something fresh, right?
Yep.
Maybe that's something they're used to. Whereas you have Flipside, where they're going to ban it straight up if they just didn't practice it. And that's because they are going to be very used to the older maps, the ones that they've got more refined gameplay on.
I find Oregon a little
Whoa.
odd ban from Flipside.
Oregon and Clubhouse?
Yeah, to me, Oregon I've always seen as a map that that Flipside enjoyed playing.
Exactly. And Clubhouse ban was like that is the old map, and there's
Yeah.
the Coastline map ban by
Yep.
Flipside. I think we all kind of expected that. Most Wanted banned Bank, and I think that makes sense based upon the interview. We just heard Mint. He really likes Bank.
But so that means we've got Border, we've
Yeah.
got Chalet, and I think our last map is not Consulate.
No, it's not.
Why am I drawing a blank on it? I was going to say Canal, but that's no longer in the
Yeah,
pool.
it's not in the map pool anymore.
Well, we'll have to see
We'll
what
find
it
out
is.
in a
We'll
moment.
find out in a moment, like you said. So
I'm kind of mostly surprised by Flipside's bans. As you said, the Oregon and Clubhouse ban is kind of weird. The Coastline ban makes total sense.
Yeah.
Most Wanted bans are probably they were trying to ban out maps they're not familiar with. There's the Border pick from Most Wanted, so
I
that's
see that being good. I see
yeah.
that as expected.
I think that's the right call for them. And the Chalet pick from Flipside, that is definitely what they wanted. So that was the third map, I believe.
Yep.
That is, yeah, Chalet is an older map. Well, obviously, it's an older map. It's been out since release, and it definitely favors the old teams, the ones who were more refined. You know, it favors Era, favors Sisu, and it favors
Skyscraper.
Flipside.
How can we forget Skyscraper?
Wow, Skyscraper. So that was okay. That was oopsie. Skyscraper is actually I think the first time we're seeing Skyscraper so far in the Pro League. I could be wrong about that.
No, it's the first time we're seeing it. Well, we saw it in the Six Invitational.
Yeah, so in
That
this
made
season of
yeah,
Pro League, I
this
think.
season of the Pro League, I think it's the first time that it's a potential candidate.
Right.
But
I really hope we get to that third map because I do
agree.
want to see Skyscraper.
I do as well. And we were talking about Most Wanted and Border, and I think that's a solid pick for them because I feel like Border was the second map for the DLC. It came out in Dustline, and that map took a season before it started getting into the rotation and into the mindsets of players.
Everybody hated it at first.
Agreed. And to me, I think there is still a lot to be developed on that map. I
Oh,
feel like there's not a. I feel like there is a lack of vertical play on that map.
I was about to say just the thing. I know a number of people who have gone onto that map and opened up particular holes on that map that teams just don't do, like where you can hold the entirety of Armory almost from underneath, and you just have to open the right holes. And I feel like, yeah, a lot of teams don't utilize that. It's the vertical gameplay on Border is certainly underutilized. And it's kind of a crying shame, but I'm sure as the game develops, as we get more into the meta, more deep into Border play, we've been seeing it played a lot actually recently. But as it gets further into that, we will probably see more of that vertical gameplay show.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm expecting to see from Most Wanted. Seeing as how it was their choice, you can obviously tell that it's a map they wanted to play. I'm expecting to see some extravagant strats for them, some very solid gameplay.
I hope to see it. I mean. Yeah, no, I hope to see it, but I'm guessing that they're going to be a little bit more of a dynamic team than a strat-heavy team. I could be totally wrong about that, though. I have to wait and see, and once we get into this matchup, we'll find out, of course. From Flipside, they will be. From history states that Flipside is a strat-heavy team, and they have this very similar roster with the change of King George. I think is the person who got taken off that roster. I'm not sure who replaced him, but it's a very similar roster. So I'm thinking that they're going to get a little bit more dynamic because King George was the strat master, so to speak. But I don't know. Like I need to see. Well, obviously I need to find. We need to watch and find out.
We'll watch.
But I need Flipside to be not what they were in Season 3. I need them to make that adaptation, move from hard strats to dynamic play with strategy.
Yep.
Which is what we've been seeing from Ominous, which is what we've been seeing from Sisu. I mean, ideally, I'd like for all these teams to make that move because it seems to be the winning, methodology. But I really hope that Flipside has made it because they have been around for so long. They've gotten so much experience as a team. They know, obviously, they've been able to look inside themselves and be like, yeah, okay, this doesn't work, and try to move.
So one of the things you mentioned was that you're curious on who filled King George's spot, and I believe that was Zilchi. I think Zilchi was a sub for their team. Because I remember previously during Season 2 when Flipside was around, Hot and Cold, or Houghton, wasn't there because he was still underage.
Right.
But now he's into the play, and he's on the team, and he's made the spot, and he's made himself known. So I feel like the roster, although it's changed by one person from Season 3, throughout the 6 Invitational, they've stuck with it. Throughout the season now, they've stuck with their roster, and I think it's going to shine for them today.
I definitely agree with you. But we are waiting for just one more person to get into the lobby, and we'll be going straight into the match. Okay, so we saw Border earlier today, and we're going to be jumping into Border. I think it's the first match.
Yep.
So what do you think the differences are going to be? Because I think that what we saw from these two teams, where we saw Glass picked, and from both of them, and they both took from offices the majority of the time. There wasn't a lot of CCTV play because clearly, especially on Onslaught side, they were playing off of CCTV, trying to deny the attackers moving into CCTV and then opening up the A wall. Do you think we're going to see something similar like that?
I think when it comes to that top floor bomb site, I think we will see Most Wanted, possibly Flipside as well, holding on to CCTV stronger from a defensive standpoint. Looking down onto the second bomb site, which is what I'm more worried about, is I think we'll see Tellers and Tellers. We won't see Tellers. Ventilation and servers for one, but I think we might see that security room for the other.
That's odd.
Or
maybe.
It might be. We might see it.
Yeah.
But we are going to get into the game, ladies and gentlemen, as the teams are ready. We're here in operator selection screen, so let's take a look at our first map of the evening.
And here we have it. The picks already coming out. There is no Glass. There is no Montaigne. There is a Blackbeard. Not really much variation on this lineup other than that. I guess you could say the Thermite instead of Hibana. Now that's kind of interesting. What I would have liked to see from our matchup earlier, Ominous versus Onslaught, is a Thermite instead of Hibana. So I really like this pick here because it's going to give them a lot more options, I think. It's just going to take away a little bit of that fragging potential, but not much, as we've talked about before. Thermite's gun, very much more viable now after his recent buff. But yeah, this is an older attacks setup, which is interesting because we're talking about a younger team. And then on the defensive side, we've got a newer defense setup with the addition of Mira, of course. And we're talking about an older team, so it's kind of contrast working here.
I would like to say that we are starting downstairs, which is typically unheard of on this map in particular.
It's happened a couple times, but as you said, it is very rare that a team picks downstairs first. I'm guessing they're trying to throw off Most Wanted rather, and trying to give them something to think about here. Maybe the Thermite pick was exclusively for taking Armory. Maybe they want Hibana when they're going downstairs.
Yep.
We'll wait and see.
Now I do like what they're doing up here. They're putting a lot of people up here. I want to say 3 or 4. Sorry, Zilchi dropped, so it's a 3 and 2. Split here.
A lot of utility, a lot of players upstairs, and I think that's the right call. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is better to have control of upstairs as long as you can, and they do have that drop down open, which means as soon as one of them, or as soon as they start getting pressured heavily, they're able to just simply drop back into the site. And yes, that does leave the attackers with an open drop. However, that drop is easily held, and if you can waste enough time, it doesn't matter if they can open up the floor above you, because they won't have time to move into the site at that point. They've been wasted.
Agreed. And you can see Most Wanted is pushing in here into the break room and into the CCTV room. Now, they will have to get their way. They're most likely going to push their way in through offices, or at least 2 of them, while the others you try to push in from the west balcony. But they know they need to get control of that top floor.
Yeah, definitely. And you see Pojo Man and Esley having a staring contest, even though Esley doesn't know about it.
Just give it a couple love taps to the window here as the wall doesn't get opened up, gets destroyed by Mint, who's there bandit tricking the wall at the moment.
A flashbang instead of a Thermite, which is kind of interesting, just blinded Thermite, but they got it open in the end, so that's all right. Half of the round gone at this point, so good time wasted by Mint. He also got rid of the second Thermite charge, so there's not much Thermite's going to be able to do from that point. Not that it will really matter in this instance.
Yeah, and I think what's good to call out here is you do have Castle inside of the office, or inside of the middle office, who's basically keeping an eye out for that rush so Mint can stay behind the half wall. He doesn't need to peek. He knows he doesn't need to. He's basically covering the side push from the archives.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way that Most Wanted is handling this. They're attacking this as if this is a Season 3 Armory hold, and they're only just now getting in, and they're getting picked off as they do, as you can see.
And it's kind of weird Blackbeard would expose himself to that because they droned Mint out. They knew he was behind the half wall.
Yeah.
But as we can see here, a 5-on-3 at the moment. Still 1/3 of the round left to go. My man's going to move on forward. Gets the pick on the Pojo. Moves on over and gets hot and cold. But will be down by Mint and finished off. That's Mint's second kill of the round. You still have Gurmy Wormy up here against Mint on a 1-on-1. And what is going to happen now? Mint is tucked around and behind the lockers. He's going to peek on out and get a triple kill. Third kill of the round here onto Gurmy. Now Fox is trying to contest it. That's going to allow Mint to get focus on downstairs. He drops through the hatch, returns back to base, and it's a 3-on-2. This is a very good defensive round here for Flipside. Now Fox is going to gas this out, open up the wall, or open up the castle barricade, but Mint's already here. He's looking to get his 4th kill on Fox as she rushes on in the next 3-4 seconds. However, he's going to go around to the window now, decide, okay, maybe I should pop in through here. Moves on forward, but through the left side, he's going to rush around and easy peasy with the revolver kill onto Fox. This is what he's known for, ladies and gentlemen.
Easy peasy, as Bloodbath stated, is kind of known for being the revolver god. I wonder if he's going to play Montaigne.
I'd say all you really have to do is just search on the web for Rainbow Six revolver god, and he'll pop up.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, that was an excellent defense from Flipside. Definitely more refined. Most Wanted, clearly, they were anticipating an armory hold, and they took it as if they took the site as if it were armory. I say took the site. They got nowhere near the site. They took the map as if it were armory, and it would have worked had they not died to the roamers. But it's clear to me that they're kind of working off something a little bit older. You know, it's not necessarily bad the way they're handling this at Most Wanted. It's just that it's just a little dated. It's similar to what we saw during Season 3. Now, I want to talk about also, who was it? It was my man. An excellent debut from him. This is his first Pro League match. He got a nice double kill, even though his team didn't win the round. That was a nice snap. So clearly, he has a lot of potential to go into this match and change the outcome.
Definitely, and I think it's worth noting that with Flipside's defense on the previous round, what you saw was they took away the vertical gameplay from Most Wanted, and they forced them to play horizontally on this map. And horizontal gameplay on this map seems to favor the defenders the majority of the time.
Very much so. But it was kind of an odd way for it. Also, you have to take into account that Most Wanted to handle that in an odd way.
Agreed.
Their pushes were just a little weird. I think they'll probably get it more refined down going, and once they start to feel out, seems like the sort of team that they just need to feel out Flipside and get a handle on themselves. And I feel like they will get that in this matchup.
All right, so all their Valk cams are placed outside, which again is going to provide some very useful intel for Most Wanted.
We've seen before from CTM that getting aggressive on border, peeking outside, can work very well in your favor. Those cameras are probably going to help them with that. Now, it looks like Flipside, now this is kind of interesting. They're taking this, again, both of these teams are taking in an older fashion. They're taking CCTV. They're opening up that A wall, or at least that's what they're setting themselves up to do here. And that's, you know, again, that's a pretty dated take. What we saw from Ominous and Onslaught earlier today, I feel like is the I guess the newer, quote unquote, the way to handle this particular bomb site. It has been seen before, but it just seemed to be working a little bit better than forcing yourself into the A-bomb site.
Yep, and here you can see Zilchi playing that vertical game, trying to get the thinking nade from below, but it looks like he's going to get out of place at the moment. The man's going to rush on out. He hurts himself drastically with that C4, but is able to pick up the kill on an easy peasy. That is going to be the IQ down. Pulse's direct counter. He's going to come back inside and get Zilchi, who moves on in from ventilation room.
My man.
My man getting another double kill. Nade's going to pick off Mint. This is not looking good for Flipside Castle. That's hot and cold. Going to pick up that kill onto Nade now. So with that, my man turning it into favor here for Most Wanted on round number 2. Hot and cold's going to pre-fire that wall. Gas grenade's going to get thrown out by Gurmy. It's going to stop a little bit of a push, but there's still plenty of time for Flipside to make a move here. But that is not going to fare well for Hot and Cold. Fox is going to pick up that kill as Pojo Man. Last man alive is going to go for one kill. Cannot land the one on the Fox. You're going to see him rush on in. Last gas grenade is going to be tossed out here in a moment. Pojo Man goes in, and there's going to be that SMG-11 kill to finish off Pojo.
So again, a fantastic debut from a man. He's doing some excellent work for them. He's doing some excellent work for Most Wanted on that roam game. He did damage himself a little bit with that C4, but he ended up winning the round for his team, so it didn't really matter. It looks like both of these teams are heavily favoring defense. Now, Most Wanted did go armory first rather than ventilation, so on their next defense, they will be forced to pick ventilation, or maybe as you recommended earlier, maybe they're going to go tellers. Maybe they're going to try something different. Maybe they're going to go
security or supply, yeah. We
There's-
are going to see top 4, though, it looks like.
Yeah, well, that's from Flipside, yeah. But Most Wanted, they could bring something totally new on their second defense based upon the fact that they didn't go ventilation first, similar to Flipside. But who knows? And now, moreover, looking at Flipside now on their second defense, they won their first in ventilation. Are they going to be able to continue that trend? Or does Most Wanted have, is their take, what they were doing, their old style take from CCTV to AWOL, is that going to work in their favor here? Are they going to do that again? And, okay, first of all, there doesn't look like they are. Either they picked Thermite for an upstairs take, or honestly, I'm not sure what's going on here. They picked a Hibana rather than bring a Thermite again. Now, even if they expected them to Flipside to defend ventilation first, why bring a Thermite in that case when you're going to be taking in a similar way? So the only way I could see this making any sense, the roster change, or the lineup change for Most Wanted, the only way I can make this make sense to me is if they're now going to be attacking offices rather than trying to get their way in through the A-wall again. And I think that's the right call. They did, if they do in fact do that. They did try A-wall and it didn't work out for them well with Thermite. So I think changing it up like this is going to be good for them. Now, it's worth noting that we have not seen Glaz or Montaigne from either of these teams yet.
Yeah, and I think that might be the right call for these, for at least Most Wanted. Their playstyle doesn't necessarily seem to fit that, especially knowing that you're going up against Flipside, and Flipside doesn't like to make those aggressive peaks. You don't see them peaking that well, so
No,
you're not going to especially see that Glaz be overly effective.
Historically, they've been very good with their static play and just waiting for the enemy team. And I think that's why one of the reasons why we saw that first defensive rounds be so heavily in their favor.
Agreed. So now it does look like Most Wanted is going to push in towards the west balcony here. You can see Hibana opening up the bottom of the wall there. It looks as though underneath, though, Hot and Cold is going to take quite a bit of damage. I want to say that was from an Ash charge by Fox. She is underneath of there. That's going to force Hot and Cold to get on out. The wall does get opened up. That's going to be enough, although I don't think it's going to be enough.
That might be a little too high.
I think it's too high. There it is. It is too high.
If they might be able to vault the corner.
I think,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't think it's too risky though to say, to be honest. That was a really a poor Hibana charge there, unfortunately. And this is really indicative of the bringing the Thermite. You know, you don't have to force yourself into a Hibana pick. Maybe you play better with Hibana, but your team needs a hole that you can go through.
And here is Fox getting the first kill of the round. That's taking out the smoke.
That's a huge player off the board.
Agreed. And you've also got Zilchi, who's been injured quite a lot down. He's down to about 10 health now in the middle of offices as he tries to peek out onto Blackbeard. Pojo Man's going to pick up that kill into Nade, though, out inside of the offices. He was trying to come around and put a little bit of pressure from office side, making them think they might go for an Archives push.
This Most Wanted take is a little all over the place, not very compartmentalized. It's just kind of, we'll go here and try to get a pick, and I'll go there, and you try to get a pick, and maybe hold the flank, and it just seems a little, again, it's all over the place. And I think it's pretty much down to the fact that they didn't actually get the wall open, so they can't go in to the A site. And now they're trying to adjust their take entirely by moving to other avenues and trying to, looks like, force their way through offices, but they have Jaeger to deal with them.
Yeah, and Pojo hears Hibana hitting the barbed wire right on the other side of the wall. Gurmy and my man are both going to move in forward. Looks like my man's going to drone out or flashbang first, but he gets his teammate. And will we see Pojo here going up against Gurmy head to head inside of the offices? My man's going to turn the corner. Gurmy first. He'll go down, and it looks like he'll get another kill. A double headshot, but he'll get down in the process, and easy peasy might be able to pick him up. But with 13 seconds, he will stay down. My man and Esley, we're going to come around. A double kill from Esley to turn the win around and make it Most Wanted, taking his top 4 site.
Okay, I actually genuinely thought, based upon what I was seeing, that Flipside just won that round. But no, Most Wanted, they applied the pressure where it was needed, and in the end, just Blackbeard just walked into the site. It looked like the defensive team turned away from him and just completely ignored where he was playing, and as such, he was allowed to just come up and sweep up the last defenders. But it was a really valiant effort by Pojo Man, getting those 2 kills on the players coming in through offices. And it was also a valiant effort by the flip side as a whole. They were down to the last 10 seconds there. Like, that was almost their round. All they had to do was stay alive, and it was theirs. And it just didn't happen. Most Wanted just got aggressive all at once and kind of collapsed on the flip side defense.
Yeah, I think that was a very good call. Whoever made it on Most Wanted to
Just
try
go,
and push
go,
in
go.
for office.
Yeah.
Because if Blackbeard was silent, if you will, if he made it seem like he was pushing around with the rest of his team, I think that's what allowed him to push in to the west side,
Without
into the bomb side, without being detected.
at all.
Agreed.
It
Yeah.
was, and it's so weird. Like, you'd think that it doesn't see, it's not like Flipside. If there's any one team that I'm going to point out and say that they don't let that particular thing happen, which is just allowing somebody to walk into the site unchallenged, or not even unchallenged, but undefeated rather. We didn't actually see if he was challenged or not. He may have been, but he won that anyway. Anyway, regardless, if there's any one team that I'm going to look at and say that's not going to happen to them, it's Flipside.
Agreed.
So I'm kind of a little weirded out that the fact that they allowed Most Wanted to do that. But now Most Wanted in a 2-1 round advantage here. It could be taken back by Flipside at any moment. This is an extremely close matchup. This is more what we thought we were going to see with Ominous and Onslaught. But luckily we're seeing it now. And again, I really do hope that we get to that skyscraper.
So it is round 4, ladies and gentlemen, on the first map at the moment. Most Wanted's playing a 3-2 split defense with 3 defenders topside, where the bombs are beneath them inside of the server and ventilation room.
A lot of times people will often favor having more players on the site and less roaming, but I think in this particular instance it is much better to have those extra roamers upstairs. Try to waste as much time as possible, especially, again, we've talked about this, especially when you have the drop down open, for them to easily just walk out whenever they want to.
Now, I think it is worth noting that each and every time on the attack side, Easy Peasy has been IQ, and unfortunately the first round it looks like Pulse won that, so 1 point for Pulse. But I mean, bringing an IQ is something that's not necessarily in the general meta of today at the moment.
They're bringing it to challenge the Pulse, and that makes a lot of sense. Jaeger down here looks like he's going to get picked up by Foxay. That's really lucky on his part. Zilchi, though, looking to set up to, oh, yeah, finish him off after he gets picked up. Come here, Werby.
Ooh, and it looks like Esley gets Pojo, man. Hot and Cold's going to pick up Gurmy, though. A 3-on-3 now after that short engagement inside of the archives. Now Zilchi is tucked around inside of the archives. Nade, though, will get the drop shot onto Zilchi. Actually, no, that was below. A very nice hole there made up by Nade. Now a 3-on-2. You still have 1/3 of the round left. Esley's here playing Bandit. And he's inside of that fountain room. Hot and Cold's going to try to come around from the opposite side of the map here from CCTV room. Right now he's in break room, moving down towards the main hallway.
That was a really interesting rotation from Gurmy Wormy. He got caught off in small office, and he opted to try and go for the main office's window. And Ash shot him through the wall. It was because he got detected, obviously. He was outside too long.
Now my man and Easy Peasy going at it yet again, and it looks like IQ's going to come out on top. The score is 1-1 between those two. Now Hot and Cold is up here hunting hunting Esley. He will pick off that 1 kill. And now last one in line is going to be Nade. He's down inside of the workshop at the moment. A 2-on-1 gets droned out. He's going to have to rotate on over to the mattress. And Easy Peasy wants to move in. But right now he's going to drone it out, I think, a little bit more. As Hot and Cold is going to rush on in. Nade now trying to position himself for the ever-coming take. There's 15 seconds left on the clock. Some pre-fire goes, but the desk is going to take all the bullets. IQ will go down, and it looks like Nade is going to go up against Hot and Cold in a 1-on-1. Now, Hot and Cold sees the shoulder, gets the headshot down, and Flipside is going to even this back out in a 2-2.
I think you could partially attribute that loss for Most Wanted to a lack of a Valkyrie. There's not a lot of information on that site, unfortunately. I mean, the Rook had to play solely off of his own instincts. He had no way to tell where Ash was planting. No mark through the wall from his teammates, no calls at all. So he did manage to put it into 1v1, but in the end, he couldn't tell where Ash was, so she was allowed to just move over to the side. But that round was more, I think, decided when it comes to the roamer game upstairs. Flipside pushed in without wasting any time at all. They got the wall open, and they simply walked into the site. Or, sorry, not the site, but rather above the site. And they just challenged the roamers. They traded the players, and they came out even. But that's exactly what you need to do in that instance. You have to take control of upstairs. Even if you're at a man-to-man advantage, even if it's 3-3, and you don't put yourself in favor, you have to take above.
I agree. Like you do need to take above because you will not most likely win if you don't do that.
I mean, yeah, you can take from tellers, right? And we've seen teams take from tellers, but usually more often than not, it's unsuccessful. So it's like, yeah, taking above is the standard on ventilation. But now we're going to be seeing Flip side, with their second attempt on a ventilation take, and it looks like they did pick Thermite again. Now, either they're getting antsy about their picks here, or they're bringing Thermite specifically to take this particular bomb site, and which is interesting, given that they're taking it in the same exact way that they're taking Armory. Open up that A wall, push in through the A wall. I mean, they would have done that on their last attack round for Armory if only the Hibana charges had been successful.
Yeah, I feel like with Flipside, seeing as how they were unsuccessful in actually holding the top side bomb site previously, I feel like they should have just played it the same way they did when the bomb site was downstairs. The push was the exact same. The defense could have been very similar. It's just a matter of just play the same defense if you're able to, if they're going to continue the same push.
Yeah, and you can't hold Armory from downstairs very easily. You just need the information.
Yep. So here we have it. Looks like we're going to see an east side push here as Fox is going to be underneath and Esley's going to move forward into the eastward balcony. Now you've also got my man. He's going to be droning out offices momentarily. But again, this is seeming like it's going to be a east balcony push from Archives.
Yeah, so moving into office, and there is a Mira in place to stop that. That's going to be a challenge, a little hurdle for them to come to overcome. There is a mute there. So if Hibana, or I guess there isn't a Hibana. I'm sorry, it's so distracting. They keep changing between. I'm really interested in their thought process on that particular pick. But anyway, they are going to be taken from offices, so this is different to every other one of their takes so far. Historically, they've taken CCTV and moved their way in through what would be the Armory A site wall. And this time, offices is pretty much, well, is the opposite of that particular take. So they obviously have different plans in place for different occasions. It's going to be how they handle this Mira and the mute playing behind it, though, that is going to decide this round, I feel. They did have a sledge push into the hallway to try and get him off of that Mira. There was a castle who could have barricaded that, but he didn't. So now it looks like they've pretty much established control. Well, actually, they've
seems
reverted.
Really odd. They started going for a push. They spent a minute and a half going for the push, and then they've realized that it's time to come downstairs. They're going to go, like you called out, for the bathroom and teller push, which is not what they were working on for the first minute and a half of this game.
I think what happened is they saw the Mira and they were like, let's just not deal with that. And there it is. Okay, no, they were baiting out Flipside.
Oh, they did. Gurmy there with the bait, able to get Pojo as he tries to come through the drop hatch.
So they set themselves up to take upstairs. They made it look like they were taking upstairs. And then as soon as they realized that Flipside was holding upstairs hard and they had the drop down open above tellers, they're like, okay, we'll take from tellers and we'll set somebody up to be ready for that teller drop challenge. And
I don't know if Hot and Cold's going to be spotted here by Esley. No, he's going to get the shot. And there's going to be that MP5K, the mute. He downs him but doesn't get him finished off. The C4 might be tossed out here if he still has it in hand, but it will not be the case. And it looks as though Fox picks off the headshot onto Easy Peasy. It's now a 4-on-3 at the moment. Zilchi's going to get Fox in return. Gurmy, though, able to pick up Hot and Cold. We're going to see Nade moving on in to get Zilchi. And with 8 seconds left to go, Mint's coming in for the flank from behind. Will the plant go down? It will not. He's just got to run away. There's 2 seconds to go. And that's going to be the win here for Flipside. 3-2. A very good mindset there by Mint.
So unfortunately, Most Wanted, they had a fantastic idea with that take. It all worked out for them. Everything was going in their way. They took a little bit too much time with it, maybe. But unfortunately, they didn't leave that guy on the flank. They didn't leave him there long enough. And Mint was able to come up from behind and clutch out the round in the most hilarious way.
Yeah, I mean, Gurmy was there. He's the one that killed the castle, but he just, like you said, he rotated downstairs when it was said to be all clear.
He was getting all caught up in his team's take. He's like, oh, I got to be a part of it. And it just ended up biting him in the butt.
I mean, to me, that was the epitome of keeping your cool in a very tight situation with Mint.
And I think, I'm sorry, I'm to cut you off. Continue.
No, you're fine. No, that's exactly what I was just going to say.
I feel like that what we saw from Most Wanted, where he got off that flank, it comes down to a lack of experience, a lack of knowledge, a lack of just being experience. That's pretty much the gist of it. He got off that flank. He knew he had to hold it because his team designated to him that is what he was going to do. But he didn't know he had to continue holding it for the entire take. He didn't trust his team to simply get the job done without him, and they totally could have.
I think a portion of it might have also been down to a lack of information. If you would have been able to drone out the entire site and say there's only 2, but there's 3 guys left, that's when you need to start thinking, okay, there is one person off-site. We need to find him.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I agree. There were a couple mistakes made on Most Wanted's part, but overall, that take did go entirely in their favor, and I especially like the way that they psyched out Flipside and baited them baited Castle into pushing onto Tellers. That was a really good play, a really good strat attack on that particular round, but in the end, they spent too much time on it. Mint came up from behind and clutched out. But anyway, this IQ still making use. I feel like Flipside is making very good use of IQ.
I agree. And I think it's not just for the Pulse. As we see, each and every time, almost every single cam has been thrown outside.
Yeah.
So knowing that that's going to happen, this just makes finding those cams that much more quicker, that much more easy.
Yeah, and we are seeing a Glaz also from Flipside on Hot and Cold. And I feel like one of the reasons IQ doesn't get picked is not necessarily because she's a bad operator, not necessarily because she doesn't bring stuff to the team. It's because there are so many other quote-unquote better options, you know? So the team will often rather bring,
Ooh, Hot and Cold's going to get that glass shot onto Gurmy. I'm trying to think of where was Gurmy in that situation?
I looked kind of like he was playing in CCTV all the way in the corner near, yeah, where Zilchi is right now.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I only saw it for a second.
Yeah, we're missing where he was, but nonetheless, though, we are going to have Flipside taking over the CCTV room. This is going to be one of those more quote-unquote standard pushes from the West Balcony into the A site.
This is kind of older. It's the most common take. Since the beginning of this map, this has been the take.
Ooh, and right there, Glass is going to get another kill onto Nade, who just didn't know what to do. He heard the Glass coming, saw the smoke, but just couldn't do much about it. Now Fox is going to try to wallbang the Glass here. That's going to be Hot and Cold going down, but Zilchi's able to pick up one kill, though. Looks like my man will go down in the count as well. Esley gets injured and then finally finished off by the pistol kill from Zilchi. Fox is the last man alive here in a 4-on-1. Looks like he's going to go for it. He gets the headshot onto Zilchi, moves on forward, gets a wall bang onto Pojo, man. Turning it into a 2-on-1 now, but Diffuser has been planted. Easy Peasy's going to be on the other side of the wall here. He is covered at the moment, waiting for some information to be given out. Fox just gave that information to him. Easy sitting still. He's waiting for the barbed wire. C4 gets thrown out. He baits him with it. He turns on over, but Easy Peasy plays ring around the rosy and gets the knife kill on a Fox.
That was an excellent try from Fox A. That beautiful snap through the wall. That Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy.
Is that the silencer?
Yeah, that is a silencer on IQ's gun. But Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy just ready for him to come up for the bomb, and unfortunately he did not know that he was playing so close, and it ended up not being a clutch for Fox A. But a valiant effort.
That was intense. That wall bang right there. I mean,
yeah.
To me, you got the one kill. You know that there's got to be someone there. It was instinct to make that kill, but it was time and time again knowing that map to know that that's where he was going to be.
Right. And now we're at match point for Flipside. And I just want to touch on real quick. I feel like what's causing Most Wanted to lose a lot of these rounds is just a lack of base, just experience. And I feel like what they've been showing us is fantastic. Their team clearly has a lot of skill. They have a lot of potential.
If you look at the scoreboard here, Most Wanted's not doing poorly. They're
absolutely.
They have more kills than Flipside.
Barely losing these rounds.
Barely.
It's so very close. They have a lot of skill. They have a lot of potential. They just are missing little things here and there, little pieces of experience, things that they're not used to. And I feel like if they just going into the future of this Pro League, I feel like maybe even if they lose this map, they can go into the next map and take what they learned playing against Flipside here, and really turn it Flipside on their heads and bring back that win and bring it to Skyscraper. I feel like they've really got a lot of potential. It's just, yeah. That's it.
I mean, going back to what you were saying about some inexperience or some perception of inexperience for Most Wanted, I think that kind of goes to show that within the Pro League community, you see a lot of Pro League teams scrimming each other, but not necessarily scrimming out of their world.
Yeah, a lot of the meta stays contained because of that, and it is a little bit difficult sometimes for new up-and-coming teams to get into the Pro League, and that would be why. The reason that that's the case, I can tell you, is because when a team scrims another team, they want to learn something.
Yeah.
They don't want to just teach the other team how to play the game. So it is to the detriment of a team like CTM, a team like Era, a team like Flipside. It's to the detriment of those teams to scrim against just some random team.
Until you know that they have potential to be up there. Yep.
Not
Agreed.
even potential, but like till they can show that they can beat you.
Yep.
And there's Fox A with a nice pick onto Zilchi. Unfortunately, Zilchi just wasn't watching that locker window. It's kind of understandable why not. Not many people repel on there, but they do have that Blackbeard, which is perfect for that.
Now, what they need to be careful of, though, is underneath. I don't think there's anyone down there except Mint. But Mint is not in a location for it yet. He's going to down each other. Looks like Gurmy and Mint will both go down. Easy Peasy's going to pick up that kill into my man as the plant tries to go. Looks like Esley is going to have to go back to full shield and will be killed off by Nade as he aggressively pushes outside. But with that, Esley is down to just a minuscule amount of health. But he was able to recover the diffuser. He's going to back up, drop it, have someone else move on forward and get the kill, or go for the plant. But Pojo hops on top of the desk and gets Fox down from the window. Now, Easy Peasy still right behind the half wall. He's going to move up forward. He hears the Montane and just cannot land the shot. Mint, however, will finish off Gurmy. And Mint is still down there holding on for dear life. He's injured. It looks as though Pojo, man, he's going to get one kill and a nade. Last one alive is going to go for Esley and gets a double kill. This is going to be Flipside taking map number 1, 5-2 on Border.
What a clutch from Pojo, and GG, or I guess good half if that's the way you want to look at it, coming out in the chat from both these teams. Good third, yeah, in a sense, if you want to look at it that way. But well played to Flipside. That was a really close round. I feel like it was going in Most Wanted's favor, but in the end, it was just really well played from Pojo, man, to get that 3K and really just kind of pick apart the Most Wanted attack.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, so what we saw there was Flipside. They played, in my eyes, to what I was expecting them to play. They played different strats. I mean, I've not seen that much utility held on the top side of a ventilation and server hold. And to me, seeing that means they put a lot of effort, a lot of time understanding how people majority of the time try to take that bomb site.
I think we were seeing something similar with the other two teams the Ominous and Onslaught earlier. It's something they invested a lot of utility upstairs, they invested a lot of players upstairs, but maybe not as much as Flipside. And you're right, it does come. There's the double kill from a man. That was his premier, frag, I suppose. And there's another round from a man that he managed to win for his team. And I feel like another thing, if we were to touch on this real quick, those two clutches from a man, I think were the 2 rounds that they won overall, and it came down to him. And I feel like Flipside, the rounds that they were winning came down to clutches from Pojo Man like this. They actually lost that round.
They did. Very unfortunate, but you had Mint with the clutch at the end.
Right.
You also have Pojo. I think with Flipside, they have the spread of talent.
Yes.
That you can have any one of their members left alive and still have a chance to win.
Yeah, and I feel like on Most Wanted, you have a lot of players who have who have the skill. It just seemed like there were other players who, in certain instances, weren't contributing as much as they could have. For example, here, unfortunately, Nade got pushed in by a Glaz. Now I understand there are the smokes, but you have to.
Here is the wall bang right up to Pojo, strafes across and boink. He'll get him down. That's the double kill for Fox, but unfortunately,
Fox A knows.
He knows. He just knows.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of the Most Wanted players, unfortunately, they weren't on their game today. I would like to see, obviously, in the next, or I said today, this map. I would like to see in the next map, which is not their pick, actually. It is
Flipside's
pick, and
yep.
we're going to be going Chalet. I'd like to see them, show up and try to get those, because Flipside just clutched out so many rounds. If we can get those counter clutches from Most Wanted, those players to step up and be like, we're winning this round, it's happening.
Yeah.
Then I think we'll see a lot more wins on the board for them.
I think I totally agree with you there.
That's what Pojo Man did just now, like on the last round. He just stepped up and said, hey, we're winning this round. It's happening.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
It comes down to, a lot of it comes down to confidence. A lot of it just comes down to situational awareness. It's what kind of state are you mentally in this game?
Right, and then we are going to be getting straight into the match. We're going right into Chalet, ladies and gentlemen. And right off the bat, we are going to be having, you can't see it yet, but I'll spoil it. Not yet. I mean, I guess there's a Montane on Flipside here. Now, looking at this setup, it's something similar. I'm guessing they are going to be attacking Kitchen. I'm guessing what Flipside's going for here is something similar to what we were seeing with Sisu. Now, first of all, we saw a lot from Sisu. So it could be a great many things here on this Chalet. But what I am anticipating is immediately a Montane push for the Roamers in the library, force them down into somebody waiting in trench. That's the attack I'm anticipating from Flipside here. But maybe they have their own little spin on this. Maybe they have their own way to handle trophy defense for the first round. But we'll find out in a second. So it is going to be most wanted on defense. It's going to be Flipside Tactics on attack. This is the second map of this particular match, and it is Chalet. Now, this is Flipside's pick, and it is, in my opinion, favoring them, given the fact that it is the older map, and Flipside is the older team.
Yeah, and for me, I'm thinking their choice of operators, other than Hibana, seem to fit that ideology. Now, Hibana, she is new, but she plays a similar role to Thermite.
Right.
And in this case, on this map in particular, on this bomb site in particular,
need a
it
Thermite.
is safer
Yeah.
to go with the Hibana for that distance charge of that drop hatch.
Absolutely. And they do have the fuse, which is something that we have been seeing very commonly on Chalet. It is pretty much almost, I just think it's like an 80% pick on Chalet attacks. It's you know, he brings a lot on this particular bomb site, and then even if the other team decides to try and throw you off, they go downstairs first. He still brings those fuse charges, and the entire, you know, pretty much the entire downstairs site is destructible. We will have no players from the most wanted lineup playing in Master or Office, so it's going to be a free take from Flipside. They're going to be handling this in a different way to UCC. They're just going to push straight on into Master, push their way down in, I'm supposedly just, he's going to hold the flank for...
You had called it here. He's trying to push in, make sure that
Right.
library is all clear.
But he took it from the other angle, so it's slightly different, I guess. And there's nobody waiting for the roamers to come back. It looks like most of Most Wanted is playing on the site.
It's going to drop right on top of Esley, but with that 3-speed, will dodge out of there just in time.
There's only one player, I think, on the Most Wanted lineup who is roaming. That is the Valkyrie. He's in the wine cellar basement right now, and that is the hardest anchor I've ever seen moving into like season 3 in this season now on this particular bomb site. Most teams will opt for 2 roamers on this particular.
Ooh, Fox is actually going to try to challenge this against Zilchi, and after taking a bullet or two, he's going to send it to move on out of there.
And now they don't have any roamers. They might be able to drop through the dining hatch, but they don't have any hard roamers right now.
Either got to drop through the dining hatch or possibly the trophy hatch, which
Right.
it looks like Valkyrie might be trying to do yet again.
Yeah, it
Yep,
is open.
she did. There he goes. So Fox goes back for round number 2. Hot and Cold has actually made his way into the dining hall. I want to say he's going to push in here into dining and kitchen momentarily. They've cleared out dining. And Zilchi trying to hold down the fort inside a kitchen. Now right behind the reinforced wall, Gurmi's sitting. This is a reinforcement we don't see too often, but I think it plays very well to the playstyle right at the moment. Zilchi's going to drop pre-fire right in towards the trophy room, and he's giving away his position. Now the C4 from Fox, though, will get rid of Sledger. That is going to be Mint going down. Gas Grenade is going to force Zilchi to back on out. Now Diffuser's in the hands of Pojo, man. Valkyrie's coming up for the flank into Fireplace. You still have 3 members of Most Wanted inside a trophy. Fox coming up now the backstairs, going all the way to the top. He's looking for Pojo, but Pojo drops just in time. And now Fox is going to be spotted out there by the top border, or the top balcony. Hot and Cold will get taken out by the Gas Grenade. Gurmi throwing the nice nade. Zilchi will also get taken out by Nade. This defense push is falling apart very quickly. Nade's going to pick off another kill into Pojo, man. Last one alive is going to be easy peasy out on the balcony. He drops on inside. Looks like he downed Fox. And he's going to rush on in there, and it will not go in his favor. Gurmi Wormy getting another kill here.
So that was a perfect round for Most Wanted. They did not lose a single player, it looked like. And the way that they played that was it was actually pretty well thought out. They laid down a trap for Flipside. They feigned ignorance, and they allowed Flipside to push all the way into the site, just all the way in. And then they had the roamers come out to make Flipside think there weren't any roamers down in the basement, and then they just went back straight back down.
I mean, for
So they
Most
can come up
Wanted,
from behind.
for Most Wanted, what I'm starting to see from these guys with their play from border, their little rotational trick play, as well as this, I'm seeing these guys as the little tricksters. I want to call them the tricksters.
They definitely they read the other team and they play off what they know Flipside is going to do, or what any team would do in that situation, and it's kind of working for them. I mean, obviously they didn't win border, but the rounds that they did win were really kind of impressive. Even the rounds that they didn't win.
The rounds they lost were very impressive too.
Every single round they've played so far, Most Wanted has put up a fantastic fight, and every single, they have these fantastic ideas, which is some stuff we haven't seen in Pro League before, and I think this particular season has been one of the most revolutionary seasons for Pro League as a whole.
Agreed.
Lots of teams bringing things that are brand new, and Most Wanted while they are the new team, they're kind of one of those teams that are at the forefront. And I feel like if they could just buckle down and just focus on, or, well, honestly, I feel like even if they win this, they really do need the experience. It just comes down to experience. But if they buckle down, they could totally win this map and bring it to Skyscraper. Looks like they seem to understand Chalet for sure.
I think they do, and I think we're going to see a very close matchup here between these two teams on this map. You can see that they're droning out, looks like starting out in the library. Want to make sure that top floor is all clear, but Pojo, as we're watching right now, is upstairs. So they will have to clear it out if they want to take control of that top floor. Now, one of the things we saw from Pojo was he actually threw out 2 Valk camps. Typically, when you see a Valkyrie get spotted outside, you're like, okay, 1 Valk camp's thrown out. But in this case, they're expecting that. So they're going to toss out 2. If one gets killed off, okay, they still have another that they're going to go for.
Yeah, and usually teams will not get that second one. Pojo, man, with a fantastic pick straight onto my man. That's a huge player off the board, especially on a basement attack. There's no Thermite, there's no Hibana now. And honestly, that might spell the doom of Most Wanted on this take. There are only 3 ways into the site now. 3. There's the back hall, there's the stairway, and there is the wine cellar door. There is no other way for Most Wanted to get into the site unless Flipside neglected to reinforce one of the walls.
Agreed. And so what we're going to see here, it looks like Zilchi actually dropped in through the hatch. He's playing underneath at the moment. Pojo Man's going to give away his position a little bit, but he's actually going to back on out, try to drop on down and go into the basement, but Gurmy is there to catch him. Now Mint is right there. He's actually going to get the dead body as he falls on inside. Easy peasy with a very nice kill inside a wine cellar. Now what we're seeing here is a collapse back onto site. Pojo, like we said, was killed off, but they've managed to take out another man on the attacking squad. So 3-on-4 is how it's going to lay on out with a minute 30 left to go. Or sorry, a minute 15. Esley working his way here into the wine cellar. Now, they know he's here. Zilchi's like, okay, Montaigne's here, but he's not going to go for the shot just yet. Wallbangs will happen if he tries to go half shield. Gas grenade will force him back out. That's a good push. Now, Nade is here. He's going to throw out 1 nade, try to get easy peasy. That's actually going to down him. And will Nade see his toes? He's actually going to see him get the shot down. A very good collapsing kill onto Nade, or onto Easy Peasy. Second gas grenade gets tossed out. Esley, now he will almost be killed off if the last gas grenade is anywhere close to him. Zilchi able to use that vector to get rid of Nade now. A 2-on-3 at the moment. But again, Esley has just 10 health left. 1 gas grenade will down him and finish him off. And you still have Fox, who's trying to play above, but he cannot get the angles he needs to onto Zilchi or anyone else below him. 20 seconds to go. Fox is going to drop on inside. Looks like he's going to get the one onto Zilchi. 15 seconds, goes for a wallbang, but cannot get it. Now his teammate has been injured. He's the last man alive in a 1-on-2. He's going to spot pause, but will not get it. Hot and Cold gets that shot down. Mint will get Fox. And that's going to be the round going to Flipside. 1-1 at the moment.
Some fantastic game from Foxay throughout this match. Throughout all these, or from all these players, to be honest. But yeah, that round was honestly, that round was over as soon as Hibana got picked off. You don't have any way to get into the basement through any of the walls. You've only got 3 ways at all to enter, and they did open up the 4th way because Flipside did neglect to reinforce the kitchen drop down. However, that's not really much of an extra avenue to access the site, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can attribute it to Flipside going into basement first. That might have thrown Most Wanted off a little bit because maybe they want to bring a Thermite on that basement attack. A lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll bring a Thermite and a Hibana.
Get all 3 hatches, and
you get all the hatches, or you can get the snowmobile garage and the wall in wine cellar. Or you can get you can get the snowmobile garage, 1 hatch, the wine and wall, the hall or the wall in wine cellar. Why is that so difficult? And also the wine cellar closet. But yeah, again, unfortunately, they did not. I guess they weren't expecting a basement defense first, and yeah, they lost their only breach.
I was just about to mention this. We see one of the walls inside of the wine closet where Nade is right now. He's the one that is, there's one wall that's left unreinforced. And a lot of the times if a team leaves that unreinforced, they'll actually blow it open and use it as a kind of navigational route to go back into the cubby, come back around when there's a final push going.
Well, the idea behind that wall is exactly that, what you were just saying. But also, if you have it open, it's really easy to hold it hard with like a shotgun, for example. It's difficult for any attacker to win that engagement with a shotgun at that range, even if you flashbang them, like it's all he has to do is prone behind with his one reinforced wall and wait for you to push him.
Yep.
He doesn't have to expose himself at all. It's a hard angle, and again, like very difficult for somebody or for an attacking team to get into. And it looks like they're going to do exactly that. Gummy Wormy will be playing that angle with his shotgun, and he's going to have a lot of versatility there, like you were talking about, to stop any pushes into line.
Now, what we do see here are Fox and Nade both roaming around. Looks like Nade is going to be inside of the fireplace, if not bar. And Fox is, I think, still upstairs all the way. But we are going to see a push from Flipside moving in from Big Garage in towards the back of Wine Cellar.
I think one thing that's going to work against them opening up the hallway, or sorry, the closet preemptively is Mint on that Montaigne. Now, he is pretty much the hard counter to that strat.
Ooh, and unfortunately, Easy Peasy will drop from the game, but Zilchi and Mint will pick up the kills and try to even make it back in their favor, as Gurmy Wormy will get killed off by the revolver. Zilchi gets another kill here onto Esley, and even with Easy Peasy dropping, it's a 4-on-2. Blackbeard's been injured. He will get picked back up, though. He just moves on over. And there's Mint making sure that no one's going to go through the cross, and that allows Zilchi to get picked back up. So 4-on-2. Still half the round left to go. Zilchi moves on forward, but my man is there for the kill with the MP7. Right behind the desk, and now you can hear the wall bangs happening from Hot and Cold. He's moving on forward, and right now, I got to get in the mindset here of what is going through the last defender here. Nade, he sees the Montaigne approaching him, and that is just going to be the end of him.
So again, Mint's Montaigne was definitely a hard counter to that particular defensive that particular defensive hold. But we will be having a rehost, looks like. Apparently, I'm guessing Easy Peasy cannot reconnect, so that's no big deal.
Yep. So with that, I mean, we are going to basically see the continuation of this game. At the moment, it's 2-1, and Flipside has won 2 of those 3 rounds. I feel like like I said, I don't think this is going to be a blowout by either team, but I am expecting Flipside to kind of put their front foot forward and say, "This is our map. We've learned this the best." But
I mean, Most Wanted, they put up such a good fight on border. The score was so deceptive. They had even kills with Flipside. They just could not clutch out. Just this round there, this round here, Talon with a fantastic, it was Talon, right? Talon with a fantastic 4K clutch on Most Wanted. I mean, like, there's all these different little things that have been, or it was Talon, I think that was on a different match, but whatever. There's all these little things that have been going in Flipside's favor. They've been winning these rounds by such small margins and such little mistakes on Most Wanted's part, like leaving the flank a little too early, allowing Mint to come up from behind and stop a plant with a 4-man advantage at the last couple seconds. Like,
I mean, I guarantee you that after tonight, Most Wanted is going to sit down. They're going to watch the VOD of this replay. They're going to go through it all and say, yes, that's where we screwed up, or that's where we could have improved. That was an opportunity we missed.
And if they do that, they're going to come back as a team that is to be feared. Like, if they can make it, if they lose this, and I don't know that they will necessarily, the score is still close enough that they can bring it back to the third round.
Oh, totally.
It is Chalet, so it favors Flipside. But even if they lose this match, they go to the loser bracket, and if they can look back on their mistakes and then reflect on them, they can win that loser bracket match and then bring themselves back into it. It's entirely possible to be able to bounce back in this pro league. And regardless, even if they get knocked out, I just have to say, as a new team, our relatively new team, they've been putting up a fantastic showing, really, truly.
I totally agree. And one of the things that I kind of see happening between these two teams, I remember, I'm thinking back to my competitive days back in Season 1 and Season 2, and I'm thinking that when we first had when we wanted to scrim teams, we'd always try to scrim a team that was better than us. We would scrim Flipside. We'd scrim Gotham Gaming.
As most teams do.
And what we were looking for, we knew that we had solid strats, but we knew that they would expose the tiniest weaknesses, the tiniest flaws. And that seems to be what's happening here. We've got 2 very good teams going head-to-head, but we've got Flipside that is just identifying those flaws. And to me, that is something that should not be looked down upon. It should be something that is gained upon, and I think we're going to see Most Wanted doing that.
You're trying to learn a new language,
Agreed.
and you mess up here and there. It's going to happen, but that's how you learn. Failure is the mother to success. So hopefully, Most Wanted will be able to reflect on this particular matchup and make those changes that are necessary. We will be getting straight into the match now, guys. Back on to Chalet, Most Wanted versus Flipside. It is in the favor of Flipside right now. I think
2-1.
2-1.
Yes, 2-1. So this is round number 4 at the moment we're getting ourselves into. Flipside won the first map on Border, 5-2. And now they're in the lead by 1 point, but it's still Most Wanted's game.
Such a deceptive 5-2, though.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it was practically in overtime. It wasn't, but it was practically in overtime. It just felt like one. But anyway, here we go. Most Wanted will be bringing them Montaigne. So Montaigne, a pretty much static pick for both of these teams on this particular map. As we can see, he is being carved out in this meta as a map-based pick. He is very useful on Chalet, and we have seen him be put to use extremely well. That last round, I could almost solely attribute to Mint on his Montaigne because so the hole in the closet in Wine Cellar, yes, it works, but not if they've got a Montaigne. Like Montaigne just has to walk up to it, and you die. So, yeah, it would have been better to have that reinforced. But yeah, so. Now we're going to be having these teams. Where were they going to be fending? Let's see. I'm guessing it's going to be Trophy. So, yeah, it will be Trophy from Flipside. They did win that downstairs defense, I believe.
Yep.
And, oh, no, actually, sorry. They didn't win the downstairs defense. They had. No, they did. That's right.
They did win downstairs.
Defended it first.
Yeah, so the Flipside was only unsuccessful on their first push onto the Kitchen and Trophy during the first round of defense. Or attack.
It was really well played by Most Wanted on that one round. They did win. They set up that trap and just kind of like sandwiched Flipside. But now they are going to be. Flipside looks like they're going to be investing some utility upstairs, guessing some players as well to try and at least stall out the attacking Most Wanted lineup and try to waste as much time upstairs as they can. There is no fuse from Most Wanted, which is something that we have been seeing quite a lot of, but not right this second. They are instead bringing a buck to try and open the floor and simply shoot down instead. Now, what fuse is better used, in my opinion, for instead of killing people is just forcing them out of positions.
Yep. I mean, we've talked about this previously, and I think a lot of people talk about this a lot, is that it seems like fused, in some cases, is underutilized. And I think that's one of the things that is still left to be developed by many teams with using fuse on this map, but especially on any map that you pick a fuse.
You know what I love about Rainbow Six?
It's always changing?
It's always changing, and there's so much left to be developed, just as you said. There are so many different aspects and factors that are completely undiscovered, and especially in this season of Pro League, this we're on, like, what is this? This is day 3 right now? This is the third day.
Third day, but only play day 2.
Yeah, third day of EU and NA. Put together, and we are so far in this season seen tons of revolutionary strategies and just thought processes from various different teams, and it is really inspiring to see. Like, it's ever changing, and this is year 2.
Agreed.
Like, the second year. Like, it's... Anyway, I digress. Moving into this round, there's been no picks for either teams. They have forced out the roamers from upstairs. Montaigne is going down into the basement to try and force out those lower guys, force them into his teammates. Go ahead.
I find it odd that he's pushing himself down there. Like, he's all by himself.
Right. No, I agree. It is a little weird. Foxay with a nice pick.
Oh, Zilchi's actually rushing out here trying to go a one-on-one. He must have just been out of his mind thinking he could get Ash
that
out
is
here.
Overconfidence right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Right there. I mean, what? We missed that. It just hopped onto the screen. I literally thought it was Thatcher coming out to help Fox.
It was Jaeger and Mute decided to get super aggressive on the west lobby towards Foxay for some reason. That makes no sense at all. Completely unnecessary. A little bit of a misstep by Flipside. And they have to understand that they're not necessarily like up 4-1 right now. This is 2-1. Nice pick from Nade. Most Wanted could easily bring this to 2-2 again and even out the rounds.
Ooh, and that was a good pick by Fox. It looks like Easy Peasy was being collapsed by 3 from above, from Montaigne, and from the side of Kitchen. And there will be the final kill. My man picking up Mint.
First, I just want to say thank you, my man, for being called my man. That is so satisfying.
I'll tell you what, when I first when I first met my man, I first had him in my league and stuff, and we were playing, I used to always call him Maman.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, we all know how much I like to screw up names. And
it's okay, we forgive
my
you.
chat was was trying to correct me in the most critical manner possible. But Maman is what I originally started calling him. And so every time I see it, I got to think to myself, no, that is my man.
Yeah. It is a satisfying name to use. But yeah, and he's been doing pretty well for his team here. Definitely helping Most Wanted bring themselves into this match. Now, I want to analyze that last round. I want to be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 this happened. No, 2 people ran outside West Lobby, died, and didn't have anything to show for it, and the round was over. Congratulations. They pushed out the roamers, but there weren't really there weren't any roamers from Flipside. They weren't playing upstairs. Montaigne did push that out, but it didn't really matter in the end. And you're right, that was a little weird for Most Wanted. They were pushing their Montaigne solely alone. Now that means that they have a lot of faith in their Montaigne player to get the job done. Now I want to talk about for a second. We have from Flipside a Montaigne, right? But it is not Mint, which is what we did see in the past. Okay, from Flipside, Mint has been playing it typically, but it is in fact Hot and Cold this time, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I know about Flipside is they have a variety of skills on a variety of operators. And we call Easy Peasy the revolver god, but all of these guys probably spend 4 or 5 games a day just playing with a revolver. So they're all viable on a lot of different operators, and we can see that with the changing of here of Montaigne.
Right. Surprised it's not Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy playing Montaigne. He's got that revolver. It's his favorite weapon.
It is. But we are going to see Hot and Cold push on in from Master Bedroom. Fox is stationed downstairs, waiting for someone to drop on in. That looks like it might be Mint. Might be trying to push on down. He's spotting the door, making sure it's all closed. But there's going to be the first fuse charge. And again, this is
It's just the wrong way to use them, man.
We feel like it could be more developed.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's what you're doing with those fuse charges. You're telling the defenders to reposition temporarily. Oh.
Ooh, he's able to bait out some shots by Fox, calling it on down there, which is actually a good piece of information.
Yeah. But yeah, you're forcing the defenders to reposition momentarily, but only momentarily, and you're more than likely, if you get a kill, you are extremely lucky. Most of these players know how to dodge a fuse. So it is really, in my opinion, a misuse of a fuse charge to simply put it on the floor and trigger it above where you know the enemies to be. It is better to, for example, put it above maybe dining table and trigger them as you're pushing into dining table, so that once the last bomb goes off, you then have control. You can push all the way into dining table and have full control.
Agreed. And so with that, we did. Hot and Cold was pushing Montaigne, or was pushing his Montaigne down here against Fox, but decided to retreat, and now they're going forward into the dining hall.
This is worrisome because what happened last time on this attack is they took full control of the kitchen. They had everything in their favor, and then just roamers came up from behind and ended up killing them.
And now an attacker's been pushed outside. It looks as though that is going to be the end. Actually, no, it's not the end of Nate. He got revived and picked back up. Fox still drastically injured here. Gas Grenade is going to force Hot and Cold to back on out by doing about 20 damage to him. Now you again have 3 people still inside of the trophy room, and you have 1 roamer. And it looks like Fox was just taken out. But actually, no, we've got another roamer. My man is here trying to come around from the side. It looks like that will not go successfully. He did. He got the kill onto Zilchi. Esley's going to get Pojo Man. Mint finally takes down one of his own. A 3-on-3 at the moment, 30 seconds. And the push is coming forward. Now, my man is back on site. I'm sorry, not on site, but he is right inside of the main lobby, waiting for Hot and Cold to push on forward. Your Montaigne has the diffuser, which is a little concerning, but it does look like that's going to be the case. Mint able to get the shot on the Gurmy as diffuser goes down. Esley will also fall, and the last one's going to be my man outside of the kitchen hallway in the main lobby. He's able to pick off Mint, though. That's not going to be a 3K for him.
He's not going to be able to win this with a Montaigne on the field here. He would have to be extremely lucky.
Agreed. And Easy Peasy trying to go for the crossfire and gets it down. So a very good collapse there by Flipside.
Yeah, and I was a little disconcerted when they decided to ignore their flank, but unfortunately, Most Wanted didn't capitalize on that. They had the Thatcher ready to stop the flank in the lobby, but they could have easily still come up from backstairs and challenged that. They didn't. Instead, they opted to simply take West Lobby as their, their flank, I suppose. But that was still technically right in front of Mint, who was ready there to stop them from coming up. And Mint did get a 3K in that exact situation, just looking down the hallway, looking through the kitchen, just waiting for the defenders to peek.
And I think what happened with Flipside is they realized that the roam game was strong.
Yeah.
On Most Wanted, and they realized they didn't have the amount of time or the luxury to chase after them. So when you're in that scenario, you need to change up your strat, push on into the site, and you need to cover your flank. And that looks like what they did, because I think that was the Thatcher came in at the very last moment.
He was playing, I believe, on balcony in lobby, so he was ready to stop anyone from pushing up lobby stairs or coming from bar. But again, the defenders could have challenged that from backstairs and made their way above and tried to, you know, there's various things. There's so many different things they could have done, but when it really comes down to it, I feel like the roam game for Most Wanted was just not as strong as it was last time. And like you said, flip side, they were ready for it.
Yeah, they realized it was the flip side realized the roaming game was too strong to take head on, but not enough to bait out. They were able to get that kill.
Definitely. And there's what looks like, yep, it's going to be the double cams from Pojo Man. So this is pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. If that cam does not get shot, I would be surprised. But we are going to be seeing from Most Wanted, not so much a front take, but more a top-down looks, or no. Okay, so they are going to be setting up for a wine take, and that's what's going to be happening here. They do only have a Hibana no thermite, so this is going to be very difficult, especially if their Hibana gets picked off early again, which is what happened last time. Pojo Man got a nice pick into the west lobby as she was just running in without enough drone coverage.
And it looks as though Mint will pick off Gurmy. He's going to rush on outside and gets the kill, exposing himself, but it was well worth it as he takes no damage. He's able to get back onto site.
And that's Thatcher off the board. If there is a bandit, there is not. There's no bandit, no mute, so it doesn't really matter that Thatcher's off the board, but that is still a significant player.
Yeah, now Fox did push down the kitchen stairs and did not get a kill. It looks like my man is going to move forward, though, and try to open up some of the wall here as he is playing Hibana, but they still need to be worried about Pojo. He is the roamer topside. Taking a look here, wall got opened up just a little bit. Gas grenade, I'm sorry, the smoke grenade will get destroyed by the ADS. The gas grenade goes off, and again, I think that's just extra cover for Glaz at the moment. That's not pushing back anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting smoke grenade from, well, smoke.
And now you have my man watching the flank around. He's making sure that that Pojo's not going to be there to take the kill. Fox, though, getting that one shot onto easy peasy, dropping him through the smoke grenade. And a wall bang, another one from Fox. He is just on fire today as he gets Mint. My man's going to get Pojo Man with the flank he was just covering. Zilchi's actually gone upstairs to go for another flank, another roam. Hot and Cold is going to be the last man standing on site. And so now Zilchi moving on forward.
He's in a good position to clutch this out if he simply drops at the right time.
He is. It's all about timing now. It's a time game for Zilchi. So Hot and Cold needs to hold back. He's got, I think, 2 gas grenades left. And there, I'm sorry, that is the last gas grenade, and there are still 50 seconds left in this round, and this 2-on-4. Now, Nade's going to try to peek around the doorway here. They have not opened up the closet wall, I don't believe. And so they will have to push in through the front door. Fox, though, coming around, and it looks like Zilchi hears the drop. There goes the C4, and they just cannot get the shots. And there it will. Fox finally lands the one that counts. It's all up to Hot and Cold. And the nade, or sorry, my man almost able to get the plant down, but Esley says nope and finishes off Hot and Cold before it even gets to it.
Fox A knows. That is one of many wall bangs. Fox A has had spectacular shots from him. Really a fantastic showing from him overall. He has been showing up for his team in a way that is keeping them on, in this match.
So Fox, looking back to last year and seeing Fox develop over time, and like you said, he was previously on the Pro League team. He is way better, but I'm thinking back to his playstyle then, and I see portions of it carry over to now, in the sense that he was always the roamer. He was always the quick person on the board. He's done that with Valkyrie. He's doing that with Glaz. Instead of doing it with Jaeger, he's now doing it with these 2-2 operators. And I think it's working out for him with the utility he's got, as well as the mindset of the maps that he's taken over.
No, I agree. I think he's I think his operator selection is probably playing in his favor a little bit more. And we used to have players like we used to have Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy. He played Smoke a lot, and it kind of worked for him, but it didn't really. And he's thus, oh, actually, has he played Smoke? No. I think he's been making a change recently, and it's been working out for him as a player. And you have Fox A. I feel like maybe on the teams he was on previously, he was forced into roles that he wasn't comfortable with. And having seen him play in this matchup, he's clearly comfortable with Glaz and Valkyrie. Those are things that he likes to play.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see a player who's been in the scene for a long time get their just due and get to play the roles that they want to play and really shine from it.
Yeah, and so I will say though that round count is back tied 3-3 at the moment.
This is surprising. I expected this to be happening on border, but I think what's happening here, yes, the map does favor Flipside, but I think what's happening is Most Wanted have just realized, wait a minute, we could win this.
Yeah.
All of these rounds are so close. We just have to step up our game just that tiny little bit, improve on our tiny little mistakes, and we'll start winning these rounds. And they're doing just that.
And so now it looks like Flipside, that's going to be Hot and Cold and Zilchi moving on into the master bedroom. But again, we don't have any roamers from Most Wanted up here.
And this is really interesting. No contention from Most Wanted holding upstairs. And a lot of teams, especially in the European meta on Chalet, even in the North American meta, they will try to waste as much time as they possibly can upstairs. Try and bait out utility from the attackers. And neither of these teams have been doing that.
Now, there was a C4 thrown up from Kitchen onto the floor of Master Bedroom. It just barely missed Montaigne. But that's one of those moments where you're like, you need to get out of Master Bedroom as quick as possible.
Yeah, and if that C4 had killed Montaigne, it probably would have been the round in favor of Most Wanted.
Ooh, and my man is going to be injured. He will not have enough time to get out of there, and the cluster charge will go. That's going to be the first fuse cluster charge of the day. Fox, however, is able to manage to get on upside and get Zilchi down for the count. That's taking out the fuse. C4 is going to go exploding and force Easy Peasy to back on out. But Fox will go down. And Easy Peasy escapes with his life from the nade and has 5 health to show for it.
The first big whiff of the day from Foxay. He baited out the... Oh, wow.
A little engagement here. Esley. Oh, and the hip fire headshot from Hot and Cold. That's the revolver action, getting it down onto Esley. Now Hot and Cold is going to push the inside here. He's inside of the kitchen right now. Gas grenade is going to force him to back on up, but it looks like Pojo Man is there with the gun to get rid of Gurmy. Nade, however, is inside of Trophy Room. We're going to see a push down, a drop from Pojo, drop all the way down to the ground. Minton is now looking through the windowsill. He knows that Nade is here. He's just going to toss out one nade. Hopefully there's not going to be an ADS. It's going to go flying in, but his health will sustain. He's going to peek on out, and it's going to be a dual kill from Mint and Nade.
Yeah, a nice trade from Nade and a nice try as well. If he had a little bit more HP, he would have been able to probably get that kill without dying. It was not a headshot from Mint. He was simply low. Now, that was an interesting play from Foxay. He baited out the Thatcher to move, to dodge that C4, and he just barely missed that shot. You have to wonder if Foxay had hit that shot, would they have been able to win that round? But now it is 3-4 in favor of Flipside. Now, Most Wanted, again, all of these rounds so very close. Just one tiny little mistake there, and Flipside managed to swing it in their favor.
Yep.
Most Wanted, he just stop making this tiny mistake. Stop, Foxay, honestly, to me, it looks like Foxay hit that shot. He must have been off by inches.
Yeah, I think it was just a shoulder or a chest shot, and ultimately just didn't get the shot he needed to land it. But like you had said, it is match point, and it is series point right now for Flipside. If they can get this win, if they can hold down the fort downstairs where they did successfully previously, we will see this going into a 2-0.
And I honestly, I'm going to be completely blunt here. I think that it is going to be a 2-0, and just based off the operator selection, we do not see his Thermite again. And I'm really, truly worried about this. It seems like Most Wanted has an aversion to bringing a Thermite to the field. They've done it twice before, but they've done it when they were attacking ventilation on border, which is just like opposite to what you would expect. You'd expect it to be brought to attack armory, not ventilation. And they're not bringing it at all on this particular bomb site. And again, it doesn't really make very much sense. When you're attacking Wine Cellar, it's less of a maybe you bring Thermite, you always bring Hibana. It's more of a you always bring Thermite, you maybe bring Hibana.
I think one of the things that confuses me a little is seeing as how Zilchi has been Mira almost every single time on defenses on this map in particular. I'm curious as to why we're not seeing a Twitch. Because you see these Mira windows in very significant and important places, but you're not seeing the counter to Mira of bringing that Twitch drone.
And you're totally right. It's good that you brought that up. Is one of the things that we see from Twitch, what we've seen from her in the past is, yeah, she got buffed, so she was more useful. She had more drones, but she wasn't really useful for anything. Even like she could
Her biggest thing was taking out
ADSs, bandits, and mutes, and that was. Oh, wow. Easy peasy with a nice kill onto Foxay, who was in that hallway. Foxay saw him clearly, just missed the shots. But, yeah, no, Twitch wasn't very useful for anything. And sacrificing a Twitch drone to open a Mira window is huge.
Agreed.
That is one of the most important things. Like, I think if you're playing Twitch and there's a Mira on the other team, that should be your entire focus. Because Like, other than that, you've got cameras, mutes, bandit charges, and ADS devices. And honestly, you can do that all with the Thatcher.
Now you do have Esley here inside of the main garage. He was peeking around for a Valkyrie cam and will not spot any as there are none in there, but he will move forward now. Hibana has opened up a head-level hole into the main wall facing Wine Cellar, so that will force a little bit of confusion here by Flipside. Will they be able to get any kills down? We do see Hot and Cold, though, lurking in, roaming around from bar. He's going to go into Fireplace here momentarily. Now Esley's peeking on through. He spots Mint.
Uh-oh.
Just barely doesn't. He doesn't have the reaction time to it, but Zilchi does see him. He's going to go for the shots through. Some more bullets will hit his head shield. Looks like Hot and Cold, though, gets Gurmy. Esley, though, will pick off Mint from return. And there's going to be actually Diffuser drops up inside of the dining hall. Hot and Cold with a tremendous kill. That could be the conclusion of this round, as only Nade and Esley are left alive. Esley's downstairs as well as Nade. Esley's going to take quite a bit of damage from his butt as he gets shot going up the stairs. Now, Hot and Cold knows that's Diffuser. He's called it out, and you can see he's holding onto the angle. They know the push is going to come.
No.
Nade, he saw the head. He goes for the shot. He misses it. And there goes the kills, and unfortunately for Hot and Cold, he gets too aggressive and unable with his sights. Wasn't able to get Nade down. So it looks like Diffuser might get picked up by Nade. 25 seconds to go.
Not.
Nade's going to get killed off, though. Diffuser's still upstairs. It's all up to Esley. He's got to get the clutch, but he cannot. And the double kill from Zilchi will secure the win. 2-0. Flipside over Most Wanted.
That's a good game from Flipside. Again, just the smallest little mistakes being made by Most Wanted. And it honestly feels somewhat like they're not playing cohesively as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have certain players who are stepping up and doing their part, and I feel like there are some guys who are just not showing up as much as they need to.
There does appear to be a little disconnect between some of the players.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of that, but it's also a little bit of confusion when things don't go as planned. We saw at the very end there when Diffuser got dropped down inside of dining, you saw Blackbeard stay on the stairs, not really do too much, and then Sledge came up and almost died in the process of looking in through kitchen window. So it seemed like there was a little bit of confusion on what to do when things don't go as planned.
Yeah, and more on top of that is their basement attack was atrocious. Like, they clearly had no idea what they were doing. Now, we've seen this team, Most Wanted, we've seen them do some fantastic strategy, some brand new stuff that really is amazing, and I like to watch it. But unfortunately, their basement attack was, we're not bringing the Thermite to the field, you know, and our Hibana can only do so much that they can't really pick apart the defending operators, and it shows that it needs to be a little bit better. I mean, there's things like that happen that open them up for winning rounds, but it's not enough. You need you need the basic stuff. Bringing a Thermite on a basement attack is just basic.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously having a fuse on this map, regardless of the bomb site, is almost always effective. We didn't see Most Wanted really choose a fuse regardless of where the bomb site was. And I felt like that could have been very, very beneficial because, like we said, Flipside doesn't like to peek. They know the angles they can hold. They know the perfect timing on when to push. But you need to get them out of that location.
Right.
And that's what the fuse is for.
Yeah. So it was an excellent match and a valiant effort from Most Wanted, but unfortunately, Flipside did take it 2-0. Now, we have not seen a single 2-1 in this entire Pro League so far.
And so far, in 6 games of the Pro League, 4 in NA, 2 in EU, it's all been 2-0s.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the brackets and the standings for the North American Pro League. I believe we're going to start with Group A here momentarily. But yeah, there we are. So Continuum and Ominous both 2-0 their opponents against Elevate and Onslaught. Ominous and Onslaught was the first game this evening, and Ominous took quite a stance.
Yeah, I expected Ominous to have a really good showing, and overall, I honestly pinned them to win that match, but I did not think it would be as dominant as it was, and they did show up in a way that honestly I was better than I was expecting. They are a team. They are the team to watch right now in this season. We all expect things from Sisu, who have been showing up, but in the North American area, I think Ominous is the team to watch.
I believe so as well. They seem to be very, very strong with their plays. We saw them today. Let's take a look at Group B now, who is the other half of the North American Pro League. We saw Eternity and Lethal go up head-to-head last Monday. We just finished watching Most Wanted and Flipside, again, the 2-0 doesn't show how close this really was.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. Most Wanted they have that potential. They are a good team. They have a lot of good ideas. I just feel like in some areas they struggle a little bit. They make some basic mistakes, and all of that will go away with experience once they start to, get a little bit more in depth with the Pro League, and they start to have been around for a little bit longer.
Yep.
And even if they get knocked out of this Pro League early, I feel like they could come back and they could have a fantastic showing going into the future.
I totally agree. And so, I mean, with that, we do have to come to a close today, unfortunately. Yes. But we will be back on Thursday with some more European Pro League. If you guys are into watching some European plays, learn up some of the meta on that, pick up some of the things that you typically don't see out of NA, because there are two regions with two very different distinct metas.
Yes.
So be sure to follow us and come back on Thursday evening. I believe it's going to start up around 6 or 7 o'clock Central European time.
It's about that time, yes.
So if you're over in the U.S., it's going to be your lunchtime. Be sure to tune in Thursday evening for the European Pro League, Monday for the next North American Pro League day, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you again here from the ESL studio in Katowice. We wish you a happy night.